Call the meeting to order. Lexi, I believe that the certification of opening meeting laws have been met. Yes, wherever she is. Yes, okay, good. And we'll go to roll call of committee members.
Renee Lyon, present.
Sorgi, present.
John Scoug.
Chris Hughesby.
Get everybody? I think so. And then I don't think we have anybody on virtual. All right, then we can go for the adoption of the agenda.
I move to approve today's agenda.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Can
Any discussion?
discussion? Yeah.
Sure.
There's a word in there that I'm thinking it should be dredge. And not whatever is in there. Drench.
Gotcha, sure. Okay.
Otherwise yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, great, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. Then can we go to the adoption of May 29th and June 2nd minutes?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public comment, our call-in number is 715-538-1894. 715-538-1894. And we'll continue to go on while that number is available for call-ins. The next item on the agenda is the Great River Road update, and I think that Lexi is going to read that for Jean today, correct?
Yes, can you give me a second to pull it up? Sorry. Okay. Great River Road. Oh, now it snuck away on me. All right. From G. Oh. Here we go. Okay, so from Jean, the new website for the Great River Road is up and running, and we're getting good analytics. There will be a presence at the Wisconsin State Fair on Saturday, August 8th. And we'll be sharing a booth with NATO, the Native American Tourism of Wisconsin. I believe there's still a slot open from 6 to 10 p.m.
Yes, there is. I
If-
am looking for a couple of volunteers. Ultimately, the state fair, we run 3 shifts, so 9:30 to 2:30, 2 to 6, and 6, wow, thanks for hitting my mic. Who's tapping?
I don't know.
Don't know who that was. All right. And 6 to 10, so ultimately the full day is a 9:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. And it is an opportunity for all counties involved with the Great River Road, all 8 counties, to be there and to participate. So if you are available to work that evening, I do supply the parking pass and the 2 admission passes, so it's your time and travel to get down there, but I'll get you in the gate.
And then also there, the Wisconsin Great River Road Visitor Guides will be distributed. As a plug in there, I still have those in our office. We're a hub along with Trempealeau, if anybody hasn't seen those. And then the governor's office put out the 2025 economic impact numbers. And we have Drew here. He's gonna talk about that
I'll share those quick.
next. And then I'll finish up with Jean's report. So at our July 1st promotion and marketing meeting, we discussed putting out RFPs for the 2027 Wisconsin Great River Road Visitors Guide. So looking for a printer, designer, distributor, photographer, and salesperson. If you know anybody, please let me know, and I can pass that along to the board for that. And then we're still waiting to find out if we received the grant that we applied for from NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration. And then the Wisconsin Department of Transportation has been interviewing applicants for an office assistant position that has been vacant since May. And lastly, we've been getting a lot of emails and calls requesting the 2026 Wisconsin Great River Road Visitors Guide.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, Drew, we're going to go right into
All right.
the Travel Wisconsin goodies.
All right, let me share quick here.
There you go.
There we are. I'm gonna say, give it time, it'll come up. All right. And don't want that. We want that, and we want that. Let's get rid of this box. All right. Oh, we're gonna knock this one down too. There we go. Ha! Love it when technology works. All right. First things first. I'm Andrew Nussbaum with the Wisconsin Department of Tourism, Travel Wisconsin. Couple different things I'm here for. I don't know if they're both on the agenda at the same time for me, but first thing I wanted to do is just kind of run you through a quick explanation of the economics of tourism. Typically in early June, we release the 2025, the previous year's economic data. The other hat that I wear at the department is I'm an economist, so I'm the person who, starting in about February, March, starts working on these numbers and deep dives into them. We do have an agency that we work with that helps to compile these numbers, and then I look at it from a compliance aspect of, have we taken into consideration all pieces of that? So, swear to God, that's not on my end. So, don't know what that's from, but Travel Wisconsin, ultimately, we are the state's destination marketing organization. In the state of Wisconsin, there are roughly 255 destination marketing organizations. That can be anything from a chamber of commerce to a convention and visitors bureau, a county effort such as what you have here. It can be collaborations like the Wisconsin Great River Road. So there are many different aspects of it. Obviously, in organizations like Waco, Wisconsin Campground Holders. So there are many different definitions of a DMO. Current tally, like I say, there's about 255 of those across the state. Our main goal is to promote the reputation of the state and to grow the economic impact of it. So we always keep those two things on the forefront. It's not just about making sure that we represent the state, but it's also making sure that we can measure that impact. We do need great partnerships like we have here with Trempealeau County. That is vital. It's important that we that's why I'm here, and that's why I encourage everybody to have that relationship. Your tax dollars, raise your hand if you're a taxpayer. These are your tax dollars at work. This is the Wisconsin Department of Tourism, state agency. I've got myself and Christopher Jennings, who's in the northern part of the state. We've got the best jobs in the state when it comes to coming out on the road and working with everyone that's in this industry on a regular basis. We appreciate it. One, as I mentioned previously, the collaborative aspect of this region is also extremely important. One of the best things that we do have, of course, is the Wisconsin Great River Road, which connects us on the west side of the county. But you also got a great collaboration on the east side with, like with Visit Eau Claire and with the relationships with Jackson County and Monroe County. So again, that working together aspect is always important. Proud to say I've been involved with the Great River Road since really 2012. And as you heard, we've done a lot of recent things that have really changed that up. Brand new website, brand new email, brand new travel guide. We completely rebuilt that from the ground up. It's a very aggressive marketing campaign. And unlike some campaigns, this was purposely designed to be 80% out of market, meaning that I hear from a lot of people saying that live in this market say, well, we didn't see all this stuff. You live here. The purpose was to bring people here that don't live here, to get eyes on the prize. So, not surprisingly, when if you're not familiar with it, those items are out there. The relationship directly with the Department of Tourism is multifaceted. Obviously, the GEM program with the grants, but one of the most simple aspects of it is making sure the inventory is represented on Travel Wisconsin, making sure that we have all of the businesses, everything that is lodging, dining, entertainment, attractions, experiential, event-based, making sure that all of those, and I just grabbed a couple, here's Omaro, here's Winghaven, I just grabbed a couple. These don't get listed by accident. This is a relationship where those 255 DMOs we work with log in and help keep these things in there and put the photos on and make sure that they're all positioned. When they're working properly, they should be the #1 referral agent for that business of bringing visitor traffic in. One of the things that you'll hear from me a lot is tourism is economic development. I've been saying this forever. Some of you have been hearing me say this for longer than ever. If you look at economic development aspects in any area, in any municipality, The main goal of FIRST is to make sure that we showcase our communities, showcase why we live here. This is a great place. You belong here. Well, there's nothing better than opening that door up with tourism in the welcome mat to say, why don't you come check us out? See what we've got here to do. This is a great place to live, but it's a great place to visit. And if you keep visiting, it becomes a pilgrimage, and you come out here and you camp all the time, or you stay at a resort, or you go fishing out on a lake, or whatever it's going to be. At some point, and I'm sure there's some of you in the room here that decided that, anybody here that didn't live here all your life, that moved here? So, got a few. At some point you decided, you know what, not a bad place to live. That is the definition of economic development, because once you got here, you had two choices. Do I start a business or do I work for someone? I didn't find option 3. I've raised 5 kids. I didn't see a different option, and surprising that, so it was business or own. Who are we? We do a lot of research, and we ask our visitors coming into Wisconsin and those that travel through Wisconsin, what do you think of us? And sometimes that can be a very daunting question when you ask people, do you like us? Do you like who we are? Year after year after year, we kept getting the same thing back. Well, the Wisconsin nice, the Wisconsin friendly, the Wisconsin kind. We kind of joke about it sometimes, but the fact of the matter is, it's our brand. People know us. I mean, everybody's heard of Southern hospitality. We are Northern hospitality. We do own that brand of friendly. They come here, it's refreshing. Sometimes refreshing is also unexpected. And we hear that a lot. People, bless you, people come here to Wisconsin for the first time, and we ask them, what'd you think of that? I didn't expect that. Now think about it from a business perspective. You ask people, hey, how was my business? Or how was your meal today? Oh, I didn't expect that. Sometimes your heart skips a beat for a minute until you get to the next question. What did you expect? This was great. It was awesome. We loved it. You're down to earth. We speak our mind. We're spirited. We're fun people. We despite any differences in life, we are a community that comes together and makes people feel welcome. We also have research for actually 8 years in a row now. We've been asking people, and we don't ask the question saying, hey, we're from Wisconsin, what do you think of us? We ask the question as a completely anonymous survey system done by Longwoods International. And you can see if you're seeing this presentation on the screen, these are primarily our market competitors. This is the upper Midwest. This is where we are trying to get visitors from, through, away from, compete with. And we ask the same question a million different ways sometimes in a survey. Where do you want to go this summer? What state haven't you been to? Where do you prefer to go? So we ask that question differently. 8 years running, Wisconsin has been the #1 state in the upper Midwest of the top destinations. So sometimes you just got to sit back and pat yourself on the shoulder a bit and say, yeah, we're a great place. Anybody on here, Amazon Prime customer? Yeah, nobody wants to admit that, but everybody is, right? TripAdvisor. Okay, when you rate things, when you go on, there are people who look for the ones, if everybody thinks this is terrible, I better know why everybody thinks it's terrible. Then there's the optimists, then there's the 5-star people who go, if everybody's doing this, I want to know that I'm in with the fun people. Well, again, when you look at those surveys, interestingly enough, a 5-star rating system has been around forever. It used to be on comment cards, and now it's in the digital realm. But what's interesting is, and I've done a lot of data in this, I was a hospitality specialist for years, and I did research on this. I've worked with companies that still do this research. As recent as 2008, a 3.1 score meant you're probably going to get a customer back. In other words, if you went up to someone and said, is it okay? And they said it's okay, they're probably coming back because it was okay. So 3.1 was an okay. Here's the reality today. A 4.3 is the basis of okay. So in other words, if you're at 4.3, if you walk up to one of your guests and you say, hey, did you have an okay weekend here? And they go, yes, they're still not sold on you. Yeah. So it shows you that difference in how the perception of what we need to deliver is so much more important today, customer service. Here's the great thing about this, and again, this is our research, I love this. Wisconsin, I'm very satisfied, has been scoring a 4.6 for several years now. So when a 4.3 keeps them in the door and Wisconsin keeps knocking down 4.6s, we know that we've got the hospitality piece under control. Just a quick, I mentioned the sectors, but one of the questions I do get, kind of, simple aspects sometimes, everybody in this room is tourism, but a lot of people aren't. They go, well, great, what is tourism? When you talk about tourism economics and tourism data, how do we know these numbers are real? Are you making this stuff up? What is this? It is lodging, it is dining. Those are about 55% of all economic impact from tourism is staying overnight and going out for food, not surprisingly. As an economist, the great part about that is when I get to 54% and I've got those two figured out, then you can work on the rest of the stuff. You could bring that in and go, okay, does the rest of this make sense? But then retail, transportation, recreation, entertainment, all fall into place after that. And it is truly the old aspect of a trickle down. A family comes into your community with their vehicle, with their camper, with their truck, whatever it's gonna be. They stay at places, they go out to eat, they do things, they enjoy. As they do this more, businesses need more supplies, they need more employees, they keep coming back. The only thing that changes at the top of this equation is where that family's from. If they live there, they're local. We don't count them as a tourist. If they drove for the day and then went home, we call that a day trip. They didn't overnight, but they still came because they don't live in that zip code. Not surprisingly, number 3 is the one we really like to focus on because that's that overnight. And it's not just because of the heads and beds aspect of it, but economically, it's really a multiplier of 3. $75 per capita for a leisure travel per person, 219 statistically right now per capita for an overnight stay. So just, you do the math on it, figure a family of 4, $200, you're at 900 basically for a family of 4 on an overnight, you're at $300 for a family of 4 just coming over for the day. You can see why it's so important that we keep folks here. And interestingly enough, that has been growing. That time frame's been growing, and the party size has been growing. Even though families are getting smaller in some aspects, that we're hanging on to that. The average party size is still 3.2 in Wisconsin. We've still got good numbers there, but we also watch that very closely to know where those ages break down and who's coming in, and we can also target the actual spending per demographic and per capita on that. So that is a state average when I use the 219, but there's a range. There's a significant range in that.
What are the percentages in that graph? They don't add to 100.
Oh, on this one right here?
Yeah.
This is just the party size per age group, per travel size. So in other words, as you're looking what percentage of it, these are just rough numbers in here of all of the travelers. 11% are age 0 to 5, 17 age 6 to 12. We just broke it out in the age demographic on it. That's why that was broke out there, just to show the difference in the breakout on it. They don't they total out to the percentage within the demographic of that travel group.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's a little, good question. It's a little misleading on that one.
I actually have some information on the lodging part too that I'll pass around that might be helpful too, just for Trempealeau County, and this is just for the camping part and the RV
Excellent.
piece of it. So I'll
Excellent.
just go and stick that in there as well.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
just in Trempealeau County, our impact in the RV world or the industry is 15 million. So I think our campgrounds represented about 11 million, and again, this is just in Trempealeau County.
Yep.
So you could.
And that's
have that.
those are camping data. So, and that's one interesting thing there too, and I'm glad you're pointing that out. When I talk about the lodging and the dining being that, interesting enough, camping falls under, within some of it falls under lodging.
lodging,
The
yeah.
majority of it falls under recreation because of the zoning aspect of it. So that changes the aspect of how some of those numbers look on paper too. In an area that has a very heavy camping scenario will show a lesser lodging number, but a higher entertainment number, recreation number. So those are the things that, again, with 72 counties, there's no apples to apples, but you try to make it that way when you're
Right.
explaining how 72 counties work. We set a record last year, $27 billion is the total economic impact state of Wisconsin. That contributed $1.7 billion in total taxes into the general coffers. So when you talk about what does tourism do for the state, those are dollars that go into schools, roads, bridges, education. That is spending by people who don't live here to contribute to those of us who do live here. And if you're a property owner, taxpayer, that offset of dollars is about $692 per tax bill in the state of Wisconsin. So you can see that significant impact. In Trempealeau County, $71 million last year in total economic impact in the county, and again, $3.6 million in taxes collected from those people who do not live here. So that's a lot of money that goes into the Trempealeau County budget, from people who are visiting here. There's 418 jobs within those 5 sectors, full-time equivalent within Trempealeau County. And just to give you a little bit of a competitive aspect of it, again, these are the Great River Road numbers when I take the entire 8 counties. So we're talking all the way from Prescott, Wisconsin, down to the Illinois state line. there's nearly $1 billion along that Great River Road, which is why we talk about that market as importantly as it is. It's $980 million, it's almost $1 billion. You can see where those dollars shake out, you know, and not surprisingly, a big chunk of that, of course, is La Crosse County. Very strong supporter, and nice to be bordering up against them. I also take a look at what's happening on the other side of the river. We've got $1 billion in play. Well, to be reality about it, on the Minnesota side, and I'm only talking counties from equivalent to our Great River Road, so from Prescott on down, so it's Dakota County down to Houston County. There's $2 billion there. And in Iowa County, in the 3 counties that border us, there is $546 million there. Now, I'm not putting those numbers in to say, okay, we're losing the game to those states. What I like to represent is the fact that there's a lot of money in this market. You put it all together, there's $3.5 billion of travel on both sides of this river. We've got a lot of, that's why marketing is so important. If you can bring them across that bridge one more time, sometimes that one more time makes all the difference in the world. So that's why I like to show these numbers. And for the record, we have been chipping away at this the last 4 to 5 years. So it's not like they're winning the battle against us. We're aggressive and we're going after it.
Well,
These are
what
the-
is going on in Dakota County, which is the lion's share of the $2 billion?
That puts you in the, again, that's at the top, directly across from, so that's your Stillwater. You got huge population base, you have significant overnight lodging in those numbers, and a plethora of dining. They're just strong. The numbers are very strong. On a market to compare it to, it's very comparable in some aspects to Madison when you look at the level of trends that are in there. It's not St. Paul, Minneapolis. It's the suburbs everybody wants to live in. The money's there. And a lot of visitors, but a lot of recreation, a lot of overnight stay in that, a lot of money into that. But yeah, good catch on that one too. You know, and again, shows you how important those bridges are. You know, we don't have the lodging infrastructure on the Prescott side, but they've got on the other side.
Hastings, yeah.
Hastings,
My
yeah,
in-laws are.
yeah, we're pushing numbers, and that's why,
They also have that huge marina
yes.
up in Stillwater.
Yep. So it's, you know, thank gosh we got their airport on our side, huh? That's a plus. I always have a little fun with that one. If you don't know, the Red Wing Airport is in Wisconsin, so, you know. Which does skew the numbers a little bit, just so you know. Here's our 14 markets of where we spend dollars to actually promote the state of Wisconsin. Newest market in blue on there being Peoria, Illinois. Why are we in Peoria, Illinois? Because it's a market that's growing significantly. The demographic there of the 35 to 45, the tech industry. You know, we're kind of joking earlier about the, you know, the data centers and all of that. That is a market that has fully embraced the data world and the technology. You're also seeing, not surprisingly, that same similar explosion in Racine County here in Wisconsin. And I would say, to a point, we're looking at that corner of Racine, Kenosha a little bit even stronger now because the money is just so significant in that corner of the state. There's my quick rundown. Any questions? I had a couple there. Thank you for that. I just wanted to give you kind of that quick overview. I thought that gives a good, hopefully a good glimpse into what does the Department of Tourism do? What's our focus on that? And then the other is, yes, sir.
John, do you have it by sector? I'm really interested in water-based recreation on a statewide basis. Do you have those numbers?
We have some. We have an Office of Outdoor Recreation that is a bureau within the Department of Tourism. We have separate economic data through that. There is a water recreation number, and I can't quote off the top of my head, but I can get it to you. Total economic impact of outdoor rec in Wisconsin for 2025 was about $12 billion. So out of $27 billion of tourism, we're looking at about $12 billion of it is directly attributed to outdoor rec. And that number fluctuates significantly when Mother Nature gives us winter. I mean, there's about $2 billion to $3 billion in play in winter. Our ski hills do very well with it, but I'll tell you right now, the numbers show when your snowmobile trails are open, that's where the money is. That's what
Right,
brings the dollars
100%,
in. It's just the simple math on it. It's about a $3 billion industry when they're humming.
So you got that broke out like for the UTVers too? and-
Yes,
Yep.
yeah, ATV, UTV, there was a study that I actually worked on very closely in 2021, 2022, that put total, now this is a total economic impact, so I can't say it's a tourism impact, it's a total economic impact on this study, which put ATV, UTV at 5.4 billion in the state of Wisconsin. And that's total impact. The tourism number, somewhere about 4 billion, but 5.4 was total, and that was there's 500,000 units in the state of Wisconsin registered. There are 1,400 municipalities now that have passed ordinance for usage. And albeit ironically, about only 10% are trail traffic, and largely in the northern part of the state. But again, the benefit of that industry is we do have the largest economic impact of ORV in the United States, believe it or not. We rank top.
That didn't seem to come out in that one chart you showed where 54% was lodging and dining, and the recreation part seemed to be like 14%?
Because we're only counting the true actual tourism impact on it. So again, there's a difference between what's the total economic impact and what's the tangible tourism impact. There's a lot, I own 2 gators and a quad. Probably, even though I'm the tourism guy, probably 10% of my total riding may be tourism. 90% of it is fixing my fences and keeping my cattle where they belong. So most of that doesn't go into that, and we can track that back to actual usage per unit, registration, trail pass. We've got a lot of opportunities there. That's, if anything out of that, what I've been preaching is that we really need to capitalize on ORV, on motorized recreation a little bit more. We have it. We've got some of the infrastructure we need. With the ordinances being passed to open up the communities and the road routes, that does connect trail systems a little bit better. But now we've got to make sure that we're utilizing it from a tourism perspective, making sure that we can truly tell someone, hey, bring your units here from Iowa, from Minnesota, from South Dakota, bring them here, and here's what we have. And admittedly, we haven't promoted it on that level yet, and we need to.
Any other questions for,
Oh, go ahead.
questions for?
Yeah. Has that Trout Unlimited economic study of the driftless ever been updated? That's getting quite dated now.
No, the only study that I'm involved with every year, like I say, is the Great River Road, where we have the 8 counties. We can look at the numbers very closely on that. And then the 8 counties specifically that make up those, I look at the numbers very closely in that. But as far as the overall driftless, no. And there's a lot of questions. Someone came to me a couple of years ago, wanted to know if I'd be interested in taking a look at it. There's so many components into that, because again, you've got to identify in that 66,000 square miles that's driftless, what are you gonna count? Are we only talking tourism? Are we talking, how much real estate goes into it? It's a tough thing to equate, and when you don't have multiple municipalities in there to go after, you don't have a lot of that. You got counties, but you don't have that tangible data to go in and say, I need to drill down into Ettrick, as an example. I need to see the true numbers spent here. It's hard to do that when you've only got county sales tax numbers. That's the tough thing for me, is to quantify that. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's awfully tough. As you know from doing your research for Trempealeau County and working with Pilch and Barnett over the last year, it's just a very tough challenge to get that data, to be able to quantify it back to an actual economic impact on a loosely defined demographic. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to sound too vague. It sounds like I'm giving you a government answer. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you, I'm the first person who looks at economic data from the government and says, I'm a cynic and a skeptic, prove it to me. So while I do this stuff for a living, I'm the first one that sits back and goes, can I actually prove there's 27 billion in tourism? When there's 12 billion in outdoor rec. If you start adding up a lot of these things, you can get over 27 billion real quick. I'd rather always side on the conservative side of the numbers and say, I know we can prove what this number says. So,
Great. Any other questions?
thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you, Drew. Very good.
And then, want me to do the check quick?
Yeah.
All right, last thing, Best thing. This is the best part of my job. You couldn't screw this up on a bad day, I'm telling you, this is awesome. First off, congratulations, because obviously the first year led to a rebranding, a redesign, a really an inventory aspect of tourism in Trempealeau County. Thank you, Becky, and Lexi, you came in and ran with year two, but I know you and I had so many conversations, you're tired of, I just apologize to you now. But we had a lot of great discussions about what was needed and where we could go. And that in turn turned into a year two, which brings you another $39,550.
Great job.
And a year two implementation. So, we gotta get a photo. We gotta get a quick photo, so we need everybody together. Everybody up? You're gonna take it? Sure. All right, how about we get right down here, everybody in, and I mean everybody.
Right back here?
Yep.
Will that turn out okay on
Hey, let's take a look.
Well, Drew's
Just in
camera,
case
and
it's
then
Here.
too bright, huh?
We'll see, if not, we'll turn around.
Becky's in the middle of the, okay.
Yeah.
We could also put the screen behind with it, I could reshare, put the Trempealeau logo back up.
Is it on the check?
It's not on the check. You want me to reshare quick?
You're excited.
Let me go reshare. If we're gonna do this. Hey, if we're gonna do this, let's do it right, huh? Technology at its finest. All right. Choo. Let's share. Let's share.
It's in the background-ish.
All right. There.
I'm gonna go like kind of curl,
like angle.
Yeah.
Can you
Come in.
come this way?
Kind of a little curve. I got the Trempealeau logo there.
You got it in there?
I do.
You're gonna hold the check, hold the check.
Yes.
Ooh, who am I gonna stand in front of? How's that?
That is wonderful. And I'm gonna ask the gentleman in North Face, kind of scooch this way, a little more. You're on the T, like Trempealeau.
Smile like you got 40 grand
I'm
here.
gonna go up higher, and then we'll redo. 1, 2, 3. Okay, are we doing a Stephanie Clapp? Yeah!
Ready?
Party!
Ready. Hands out. Have a little fun. Ready?
Cheers! Woo! That's a lot of cash.
All right, you got it? Let's take a look.
I don't have glasses on, so. Oh,
Oh, I can work with that. Good. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Everyone has their eyes.
Thanks for letting me commandeer your meeting.
Anytime you want to come back and bring more money, we're happy.
Yes, anytime.
You still got a year 3 coming, so we can do this again in a year.
Yes, that's right, that's right.
Donuts, Drew.
I'm slipping.
Yeah,
You know, I'm in the neighborhood more than you think.
I bet,
Oh,
yeah.
Nope, from here today, I'm spending time in Fountain City and Buffalo County and on up to Hudson tonight for meetings and up to Osceola for tomorrow and, yeah. And I might be at a country music festival in the neighborhood this weekend, so.
awesome, great. Super, yep, we do appreciate all your help, Drew,
Thank
for
you,
sure.
everyone. No, I appreciate what you guys are doing. It's awesome, so thank you.
Awesome, okay, if there's no more questions for Drew, we'll move on to Discover Wisconsin presentation from Lisa.
Awesome, thank you. Well, kind of to piggyback Drew's messaging, Discover Wisconsin's goal is to bring people heads in beds, economic impact. We're here to tout what you have for all your natural resources, all the things to do, and that's why I'm here today. I think Lexi and I had met a couple weeks ago, and I just love this region. My son, my 2 daughters, or my daughter, my son, and my stepson all went to La Crosse, and we always ended up in Trempealeau, up going north, so we love it here. One of the things that came up after I met with Lexi was that AJ over in La Crosse, at Explore La Crosse, is going to be doing a motorcycle episode, and he is looking for a partner. And he wants to do half an episode, and he's looking for that partner to share that makes sense for him, which obviously you guys fit very well in that realm. So Again, Discover Wisconsin, for those of you, you have not been in an episode forever. Like, I don't even think you've been in an episode on your own or as a partner. I've been with the company for a long time. I left, came back. So I know lacrosse we work with a lot. We've done Pepin a little bit, but I know I'm working with Lori. She's in an episode on camping. So, and the Stony Creek Campground is also in it. So, those two are partners
So
in
can
an
I
episode.
just back up?
Yes.
I'm really ignorant. Can you just describe who you are
Yes,
and what is?
that's on page 1.
Okay.
Is Trempealeau, Wisconsin,
Thank you.
Discover Wisconsin?
Yeah. So going to page 2, if you turn your page, it's on that first page, you'll see Discover Media Works is our corporate name. So Discover Wisconsin is a brand that we produce. We've been doing this for 39 years. Our 40th will be next year. We're celebrating at the Governor's Conference on Tourism in Appleton. Do not confuse us with Drew. He is Travel Wisconsin. He is the Department of Tourism. They are the government entity. A lot of people confuse us with them because we produce the content that gets people out and about finding and exploring
But we were
Wisconsin.
born in the same nest.
But we were funded 50% under Travel Wisconsin back when we launched 39 years ago. 50% was funded privately and the other 50% was public. So we would get sponsorships. So Dick Rose launched our company back 39 years ago in Eagle River. Then that was when Tommy Thompson was governor. We then went off completely private funded. So it's all typical funding from Discover Wisconsin programs. Our tourism entities, your DMOs that Drew was talking about, the 250 some DMOs, Chamber of Commerce, economic development corporations. We have private entities like Lori is funding her own portion. So it is funded in multiple different ways, but typical, about 70% of it is a destination marketing organization, a visitors bureau, a tourism entity. They're using those room tax dollars that are collected to put back into tourism. That is a state requirement. It's per the state statute, which he knows a lot about. So does that help you? Kind of, we are different organizations. Stephanie Klett was a host of ours for many, many years, probably 19 or 12, somewhere in there. She left, went to become the Secretary of Tourism at the state, and now works down in Lake Geneva. So if you go turn the page, we've got that on the screen too if you want to look, but I won't go into that page. I know I want to respect your time. You guys are limited here. So on page 3, I won't talk much about it. If you look at the page below it, page 4, it's the Discover Wisconsin audience profile. The beauty behind our product is, I'm a former tourism director, chamber director, many years, 15 years. And one of the things that I struggled most about being in Lexi's shoes is I had no staff. I maybe had a part-timer. When you had room tax dollars and you had funding, you had to spend it. It's a struggle to manage multiple different campaigns. You might be investing in a radio thing. You might be doing a billboard. You might be doing a digital ad on, Fox News. You might be doing all of these little campaigns, and you're still having to find the assets. You're going to still have to have imagery, video. You're still going to have to write content. The beautiful thing about Discover Wisconsin is we do all that for you. It is a fully integrated marketing campaign that we're going to do. And when you see all of these profiles on there, you have Facebook, Instagram. Those are your more female-driven, if you look at the numbers. Younger on the female on Instagram. But if you look at YouTube, we're hitting the males, the younger males on that platform. So you're looking at that 55 and up, but then you jump to that 18 to 34 is our second category that you're going to see streaming YouTube. And then broadcast by far, which we've always done, and we'll never probably ever drop that. We talked about cutting cords, like, everyone's going to be streaming. That was around COVID, and then it didn't happen. We are still by far reaching a larger audience on broadcast. And I'll show you a map of that on the next page. But you will see, depending on the quarters that we're launching, we did go off air from Labor Day, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, because people are out enjoying the camping. They're out doing the UTVing and all the things in Wisconsin has to offer. So But if you jump to the podcast, this is exciting because this podcast is called The Cabin. If any of you are podcasters, make sure you tune in. And believe it or not, I just was on the way up here listening, and the Great River Road was our podcast today. I don't know if anyone was up that early, but it's the first little segment. We're doing we started down near Dubuque, not down by way down, and going all the way from Dickeyville, and we're going to end at the very top. I think they got as far as, they didn't get very far to get today, Potosi, and then what's beyond that? One more.
Did they stop in Ferryville?
Where's the campground? Wyalusing?
What, Wyalusing?
Yeah, that's where they ended. So tune in. That is on today. It released. You can stream it on your phone or tune in on your phone or go on YouTube. And it's called The Cabin by Discover Wisconsin. But you look at those numbers, they are just climbing like crazy. People are just into it. The younger generation is really tuning in. To go back to the broadcast piece, though, in reference to the Great River Road, we produced that episode just shy of 2 years, I believe, with Sherry Kwame. We did the Great River Road episode. It is by far if you look at on our YouTube channel, I didn't bring analytics today, but I'm going to be pulling those soon. It is third overall on our YouTube channel, third performing, right behind the supper clubs in our state park episode. So you guys are really getting eyeballs on that video that she invested in. We did a ton of little pieces off of that episode that we call little shorts, but it is performing off the chart. So we'll be providing those numbers to Sherry, and hopefully she shares them with you, but the campaign is not over, so keep that in mind. We'll go to the map. The map identifies where we reach throughout a weekend. And I want to note, when we do an episode, I'm just going to kind of back up and explain how it's put together, the timeline that we're looking at. What we do is we come out to your organization, sit down, it would probably be with Lexi or a chair of whoever wants to be part of it, and talk about your assets that your county has. What is your story? If it is a motorcycle episode, maybe it's not, maybe it's motorized sports, and it's talking about UTVing in this county. It can be anything you want, but to tie into AJ's, we could flow really easily, but we sit down, we do a creative meeting, we gather all of your ideas, all of your thoughts, and then the producer will come back and show you a treatment. You approve it, and from there we start filming. It'll take typically a year, because a lot of times destinations will when we're doing a full destination, like Lori's, it's camping. We're gonna hit it in August and September and get her key signature events and camping. But when you're talking about a county, we might want winter in there. We might want fall. We might want, an event. So you typically are filming for almost a good year trying to capture. But 6 months usually is we're done and put it in the edit and we're kicking it out. So keep that in mind. But the content that you're creating is yours. We're not going to dictate it. You're going to tell us what you want, and we make it creative, and we make that happen. So again, with the campaign, it's a bundled campaign. We are going to take that episode. We're going to put it on our website for 2 years, Discover Wisconsin. It's going to live on YouTube forever. It's going to live on Facebook forever. We're going to push it out on Instagram, on Facebook. Those, the episode, and I just clarifying, the episode is broken in 4 segments. And we own that full half hour on broadcast. So when you have a segment, it's about 4.5 to 5 minutes long. We advertise, another 4.5, 5 minutes advertise. So we own that full half hour, about 10 minutes is advertising throughout that show. So when we're talking a half a segment with lacrosse, you would have 2 of those segments, and then we'd break, and then 2 more segments for lacrosse. With it then, we break those segments down on social media. So throughout that 2-year period, we're gonna show the full episode. Click here to go watch it. But then throughout that time frame, we're gonna release segments like, oh, check this piece out. And then another one will go off without, throughout. So it's not like we launch everything all at once. It's gonna be sprinkled throughout that 1.5 years. So, which I love because you're continuously getting eyeballs on your content. But again, 8 to 10 posts typically throughout that campaign on social media, with all of those, with a newsletter, a blog, the segments broken down. The newsletter and blog are on the next page. Lexi, if you want to turn. That one is going to give you a specific blog written about the episode. It'll also link the video on that, but it's a dedicated page on our website that you can go to. I'd be curious to go in on the blog right now. It's called The Bobber, and see if there's anything Trempealeau popping up. If it does, it'll be Great River Road, probably. But that'll live out there forever. And then we'll push that on Facebook and Instagram as well. And then it also gets put into an audio version, the blog does, so it's released as well. You can listen to it, or you can go read it on our website. And also the e-newsletter, again, 3 of those will be written, one specific to that actual episode. And then we'll sprinkle another one and another one, so you'll get a total of 3 e-newsletter inclusions. Those are released to 24,000 subscribers throughout our list. That's really organic people looking for things to do. We clean it out once in a while because there's random, spam and stuff like that, but that is true people looking for things to do, and the open rate is 27%, which is really good on a newsletter when you have that many people subscribing. Any questions on that so far? Because I'm rambling quick. I want to keep you guys moving here, but with that, then also you will have an inclusion on the podcast. Our podcast could be about, I don't know, it could be anything. ATVing, it was about Great River Road today. Sometimes it's about camping. It's sometimes about wineries, breweries, whatever. But throughout that podcast, towards the tail end, we'll say, stay tuned this weekend. We're going to be, airing our new episode. We have the producer in here, or the host, and they'll talk about the experience when they were filming up here and what that viewer will see on the actual episode. So it's usually that week prior to us releasing your show on broadcast. So, but again, you're 3,000 to 6,000 downloads a week we're getting on our podcast. Andrea Belkey, if anyone knows who that is, actually Lexi knows her sister quite well through college? 4-H, yeah. 4-H. Andrea was a Survivor competitor 3 times on the show, Survivor, and she's just got a huge following. And so she does the Cabin podcast. She's hosting all our shows, majority of them with Eric, so. But it's going to be coming out. She's on a Netflix Survivor kind of episode that's going to be coming out, but she can't tell us what the name is yet. So she was gone for a long time. And then along with this, again, we'll write a press release. Lexi doesn't have to do it. She'll put her eyes on it and say, yep, that looks great. We'll send that out to all our media contacts throughout the state. Whoever publishes it, it's, at their discretion, but typically your county will do that, your local papers. You have to tout, hey, we're investing in getting people here. And to Drew's point, a lot of times people will be like, I never really saw, we're promoting outside your area. Our goal is to get people here, not your local people. But it's great when people do watch it and they're like, wow, I didn't know in my backyard I could go and experience these cool things that I had no clue about. So, but our goal is to reach those visitors, to get them here to spend money. So press release goes off, and then campaign analytics. Like I said, I will be bringing, I can probably get that soon for you guys. Once Sherry's ready for her final, I'll share that with Lexi. I think that'll give you a really great feel of how that campaign performed. It was crazy amount of people. I think that Great River Road has really become elevated, and people are acknowledging, I think since COVID, and I hate saying that, but people are really outdoors and they're really exploring our state much more than before. And then the next page is really an overview of what I just rambled about. So on page 12, so if you're, need to review what I went through, you're gonna get 2 air dates. The first air date will release probably most likely the spring of '27 or fall of '27. If we start filming this summer and into the fall, we could air it in the spring of '27 or the fall of '27, depending on both entities like AJ over in La Crosse and your organization. So keep that in mind. On the next page is a summary of the investment. So looking at this, I am proposing a half an episode, which is that second line, that 26,125. A full episode, if you were to take this on, a lot of destinations will take it on, but they co-op it, they partner, they find other entities to help offset that, like an Ecker's Apple Farm, El Maro, a vineyard. You can find those partners that may want to help offset this, and then you own it as your own episode. That is your, best bang for your buck. If you want to share it, you're in neighboring counties, like I said with AJ, this is a great, great opportunity at 26,125. If you said, gosh, that's not in our budget, you can take one segment out of all 4, just do one, which I have I've done multiple episodes like this. Lori's doing one, Osseo, the Stony Creek is taking one, Indian Trails is taking one, and then the Fox Hills. So I have 4 different places we're going. But then your investment goes to 60,000 for one segment is 15,000, because we're jumping to different locations throughout the state with our crew. So you've got 3 options there, 52.5, the 26,125, or 15,000. Again, we're a marketing firm. We're here to promote you, and our goal is to get eyeballs on your content. This is payable over multiple years. I love that because we're filming this year. We're not airing it till next year. You're in a campaign for a year and a half. You have till 28 almost to pay for this in full. So 2028 by the spring, by the second air date, because you're gonna get 2 air dates. We release the new one and it goes off, then we repeat could be winter, it could be, February, March of 28. So depending on how those dates land, you have until then to pay that in full. So a lot of people will pay 4 payments, first quarter, fourth quarter, or however your room tax dollars hit, or, And to Drew's point, economic development is, back in the day, if you asked me in 2015, 16, can we feature something that's impacting our community because it's more about the college or university and how they're impacting us, I'd say, no, this is all about tourism, but it has changed drastically and flipped, where I want to talk about a cool story about an entrepreneur who is from Illinois, and they fell in love because they came here, they went hiking, they enjoyed camping here, and all of a sudden they're like, I want to bring my business here, and I launched my business in Trempealeau County. So we tell those stories with a twist of economic development in there and what the impact is on our, in your location. So keep that in mind. If there are dollars available on that side of the spectrum, we are seeing that come through our organization. Sometimes 50% a municipality will cover under economic development dollars, and then the tourism dollars. So that's what I have for you. The rest, I won't go into depth because these are smaller pieces. An original short is just streaming only, no broadcast. That's on page 15 if you want to flip real quick. That is just exactly what I just talked about, but no broadcast. You're not getting that reach. And it's a 6 to 8 minute typically video, story with a host, everything, newsletter, blog. And then the rest are smaller a la carte pieces, which Lexi and I talked about, influencer packages, social contests. We can do social ads behind the back door on our platform and give you exposure through video. So these are all available. You can do your own podcast. We could have Lexi or someone from your committee come in and meet with Andrea and a host and talk everything about your county. That's available to you as well for $6,500. So these are all little pieces that you can do on the side, which Great River Road did. They did the full episode, And then they did some smaller, we call them day trips. We pulled them out, and we did a day trip to Potosi, and they did it called a postcard, greetings from Trempealeau County, or greetings from Vernon County. So they were kind of cute little 3-minute videos that we did.
So Lisa, on the half episode, that 26, 125, so how is that broken down as far as minutes or
So you would
partners?
get the first segment, a 4.5 minute, and the second segment would be another 4.5 to 5 minute. So you're getting about 9 to 10 minutes.
Okay, so,
Total.
obviously, one way to do that would be for the county to take a small portion of that and then to allow other people within the county to sponsor that or take
Yeah.
it as individual, correct?
Yeah,
So
you can do that.
how
absolutely.
would that break out?
So the way it would look is I would sign a contract. Typically.
Yeah,
I'm-
I get that part, but I mean, what is?
Breakdown?
Yeah, the money.
Well, here's how I typically like to do it, is I have one contract, and it's on one organization, like a county. And then you co-op it and say, let's say Eckers wants to partner in, and they want to share a segment. So then that could break down the
So
13.
we have the 26, 125, and then we can.
13,125 is a segment, 13,125 is another segment. So you got 2 segments. So that other segment, 13,125,
Yeah.
I could sign a contract with Ecker and Elmaro. I'm just bringing those
Yeah,
up
yep.
because of, those two I could do contracts with them. I don't like to, but I like to have one where it's one organization. Then you collect from your entities that you have co-oping in.
Got it, okay.
To make it fair, the skin in the game, where you highlight the natural beauty stuff, and then if businesses want in, then I'd help you do that. Find those partners and get that funding set. But I think it'd be easiest if you guys sign a contract for 26,250, and then I go out or Lexi and I partner and we say, okay, Trempealeau Hotel, or, anything that you can think of that would like to ante in on that second segment,
Okay.
how we could break that down equally.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Lisa on that?
Were you gonna say something? Leslie?
Specifically, what I'd be looking at doing would be Perot Park and the Trempealeau National Wildlife Refuge, especially within our role as the county government, where we have to focus on outdoor rec and not favoriting businesses. I think those are probably our biggest draw when we're competing with La Crosse and Winona, that are going to bring people here, and the reach that Discover Wisconsin has, I'm never gonna be able to match that. I've got 2,000 email subscribers and 5,000 Facebook followers. So just like going at those numbers is kind of where the investment would be worth it over 2 years. And then also looking at using part of the salary from the position that's vacant, since we won't be filling that this year, this could help bridge the gap on that. So.
Say that again.
Well, it's gonna be the next agenda item, I believe,
Okay,
so.
yes, there you go.
Yep.
Let's go right into the next agenda
Yeah.
item then, I think, to understand that best.
Exciting, thank you for the
Yes.
presentation.
Yeah.
Very
You are
good.
welcome. Holler if you have my number's on the bottom, last page. Email me questions. But we will be moving forward with La Crosse County, with AJ, so.
So if you partner with a business on one of the segments, wouldn't that then become more of a promotion of that one business as opposed to a broader?
I can answer this for you. This is the struggle a lot of destinations have in promoting anchor businesses that bring people into your community. Those people are going to visit the winery, they may visit, and you're promoting them, but it's going to spill over into the other businesses, no matter what. They're going to stay in the lodging, they're going to go to the gas stations, they're going to go eat at restaurants if we
Goes
feature
back
them
to
or
that
not.
impact report, yeah.
I really struggle because I know it looks like favoritism, and a lot of times I take the heat on it when we do a premiere party and all of the communities there, and somebody will say, why did you feature them and not this restaurant? I'm like, they will eventually get there. It's going to affect all of you. We only have 20 minutes to feature your community. What are your key assets why are people coming here? And if you were to ask yourself in Trempealeau County, what are your 5 top things that people are coming for? It's gonna be,
And I will
those,
say, I mean, it's a challenge that comes up at Travel Wisconsin as well. You know, we are a government entity, obviously, we are a state agency, but we do specifically focus on individual business on a regular basis. You know, we will go out and highlight a specific business aspect of it, you know, during supper club promotions or, you know, certain events or anything else. I mean, we do it on a regular basis, but we also have criteria, and you guys do as well, to base that on. You know, you don't want to feature a business that isn't a benefit to your county, to your model, to your brand. So there is a fine line on that. I mean, you know, ultimately, you know, there is a discussion that goes on many times where we'll make a target list of, hey, we need to do, we're gonna focus on these 15 businesses over the next 2 years. Is there any reason we should consider taking anyone off this list? And we do. You know, do they have their customer service in line? Is their business reputable? Do they have a marketing plan? And that's one of the things we also look at too. Do they have the ability to perpetuate what we're trying to do here? Because if they're not all in, we don't let them come all in. And we co-op it as well. So theoretically, in so many of these cases, we, just like you do, we go in and we're asking a business to contribute dollars to a project along with tax dollars to make it happen. But I guess, you know, and I get that. I know some counties have very strict rules on not promoting individual businesses. I would stress, please look at that policy and reconsider that policy, because you've got a lot of great inventory here that if you put together a list of, hey, what are the top 10 things that we could or should promote that are privately owned?
yeah.
How do you define not promoting them if they're on your top 10
Do we
list?
have that?
So,
Yeah.
just making that case.
That's tourism.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do have a policy though where I'm only promoting outdoor rec right now because there's 386 bars and restaurants in the county.
Yeah.
And
We talked about this, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Maybe not that much,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's, once you open the floodgate, it's a
Yes.
tough one to ever close
But,
again.
yeah, but you are correct, Drew,
Yeah.
and bottom line is, you can not promote anyone.
And if you-
And that also says something about your county.
Yeah.
And I-
And look
It'll
at-
tell the consumer, oh, we don't have anything here but natural beauty.
Yeah.
You know, don't expect to get fed.
Food.
Don't expect
I
to
do
go-
strategic
You know.
planning, I do tourism assessment work. If you get to that point, I'm more than happy to come in here and help you,
Figure that out.
lay it out in a way that you can defend to other businesses.
Yeah.
If anything, it helps to elevate businesses, because sometimes it's just a
Right.
tough one to say, you know what? Your reason you're not on this list is because you have deviation from our brand, and we need you to work on these things. If you get to these
Yep.
points, we want you in. It can actually be a very positive, but you have to treat it like a positive. It's gotta be a business development tool.
Well, in the interest of time, I think that would be a great option, is to see if we can get Drew to work with us a little bit on that, because I think that policy that we put together might not be just right for the tourism piece of this. And I think that Drew's assistance, which is always amazing and free,
Thank you.
which I love that word, but he has so much industry knowledge, and he will be extremely helpful in pulling that together, because that is something that we have to look at. You can't just say, come on over and hike, or
Yeah,
come on
I
over and look
wanted-
at this. You know, there's other things.
I wanted to mention that lacrosse, AJ is very, very, he features the businesses he feels are going to bring people. He will not be excluding, he will pay for it, and he's going to feature businesses. Secondly, I did not mention, I am presenting on Tuesday to Pepin County. So this isn't something I would sit on very long, if you guys are interested, because it just, they wanted to chat with me, I'm like, ooh, this would also fit. So I don't wanna, I just want you to know I'm going to their county board Tuesday.
Makes sense.
Well, and you're also, you said you're gonna be starting in lacrosse.
Right.
Correct.
You're starting the promotion, you're starting to work on this. We need to move if we're gonna
Yeah.
move.
I think though the next agenda item,
Oh, okay,
Right,
right.
yep, so let's go ahead and do that.
I do have one question, though.
Oh, sure, sorry.
No. So I understand that you will be promoting and you are doing the broadcasting and the podcast and all that. Because we're paying for it, is this technically ours so we can do stuff with it as well?
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So the
Okay.
URL of the actual, we own the actual piece. you will be provided the URL. So anyone featured in this episode, we want you to embed that thing on every platform that you can. We will tag you. You will be collaborating when we do things with Lexi. So yes, we want the eyeballs. We want to spread it like a virus, so.
Thank you.
yes.
And Lisa, we can obtain the B-roll. Can you do
B-roll
that
is
for us?
available for, $500 a segment is the typical, if you're gonna buy your B-roll.
Right, or you
But
can maybe
we
waive
love-
that for us in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form. Yeah, that'd
So
be
you
great.
can obtain that hard.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All righty, that sounds great.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Super,
Thank
and then
you.
let's move on to discussion 10, if that's okay. Well, discussion and possible action, moving budget funds from wages and salary to marketing. Lexi, you want to talk about that?
Yes, so essentially what I'd be looking for is to move the 26,000 that Lisa just talked about from the open position out of this wages and salary into the marketing budget to pay for it this year. When I'd be looking at the budget next year, I will not be refilling that position. So in my perspective, this would be the time to move on it, with that funding available that was originally approved from a wage. I think too, just looking at it with La Crosse County and being tied to that, it would draw people in because we do partner closely with them and work closely with them. Since you saw their numbers, they have an insane amount of marketing and tourism impact that we have to either compete with or partner with. And so that's where I'm looking at from that perspective.
Why did you recommend the half? Did you consider the full?
I didn't, I was a little scared to ask you guys for the full amount, I'm not gonna lie.
Scared.
Well, you always ask for more.
Yeah,
Well, and,
I'll
and,
work with you on that one.
yeah, yeah. Well, my understanding too is that, you may want to just say, yes, we'll go ahead and do this piece, and then you can always work with us on, okay, now we have enough vested people that want to come in and help with this piece, businesses or whatever you want to do, and then you can add that on and get a larger
You
one.
can modify the
Yeah.
contract?
Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely.
I guess my question was really, did you, if you went with the full, do you think you have the content to build out 4 episodes?
Oh,
or-
gosh, yeah.
Less
Yeah.
is good sometimes.
I really just wanted to hone in on the Perot and Trempealeau National Wildlife Refuge first and get that information, get those stats, and see how the whole process would go, and then down the road, bring that information back to you guys, and then see if it would make sense to go for a full episode and promote more of the county after we've really highlighted on I think one of the bigger things that draws people here.
I think one of the things that at least would be important to me is that this committee would have input as to what that section looks like, and not just be dead set on, we're gonna go ahead and do this on this particular topic until we have a chance to decide, throw some different things up against the wall and decide what we want to hone in on. That make sense?
Yes. Don't worry about time, though.
Yeah, right, exactly, but we can get the thing and then
Yeah.
make the decision about what to focus on.
I will know more on Tuesday if Pepin says, we want in on a half, because I know they won't swing a full episode. They've always wanted a partner. So maybe it is something, if they're willing, and you're ready for a full, that could be an option in a week or so, saying, hey, they're in for a half, you guys can do your own, or you're first. I would give you first if you committed to that. So.
And part of it really depends on who you get for partners within the county. If you get enough folks within the county that want to put it on, then you can do your own little like county intro of it. Here's all the things that we have to offer, and then here are the different pieces. And those different pieces are supported and sponsored by other companies, businesses,
We talk about
whatever.
businesses, though, we kind of want to focus on,
Right, but she can do that with her beginning
besides
piece.
the introduction.
Correct, yeah. So you can take those 4.5 minutes and split them up in 100 different ways.
I'm sorry, I was getting to the nitty-gritty, sorry.
Oh, oops, yeah.
To
And
John's
just a
point.
side pitch, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would just say sounds like a side pitch, and I don't mean it to be, but through Great River Road, we have significant assets in positioning for motorcycle marketing as well. So if you're doing this with or with Explore La Crosse, yourselves, potentially maybe Pepin's on board, there could be a secondary package, very reasonable with Great River Road, that would help support this as well. So if you go this route, we'll talk more. I mean, for not a big investment, I think you could have a really nice secondary package that would help hook in the Great River Road to this whole package as well. And I'm not selling that thing, I'll leave that to somebody else, but I'm just, as we're working on things in our strategy with Great River Road right now, knowing what you're doing here and what
Yeah.
we've already got for imagery, I think there's,
There's a
Didn't
ton
you
of
s-
strategy here, I think, with being able to have the funds. Then you can kind of decide what you want to do with them, because the cabin is absolutely amazing. If you haven't listened to that podcast, go ahead and do that. I know Gilbert's been on it. I know Charlie's been on it. Charlie Behrens has been on it. I mean, it's a really great program, and I think that there's a whole list of things that Lexi could kind of pick and choose from. But obviously, you got to know how much budget you have to work with to start with.
Well, how much budget do we have to work with?
So,
this
yeah,
year?
on John's point too, you know, the full 52, do you have that much in the salary
I think you
To
said you had
pay-
26, correct?
to pay for that?
Oh,
To pay for that, because if you're not going to budget next year,
yeah,
then where does that money come from?
right, exactly. So what do you have in that little fund,
So-
honey?
Not that you want to spend it
I have a
all.
question, is this something we do annually?
To consider as we go into the budget piece, that wage item can go into just, you know, this type of marketing piece in
Right.
her budget, right? That, like,
Okay,
you don't necessarily have to write that off quite yet.
okay.
Yes, yeah.
So I have a quick question, is this something we do annually, that we would do? This is a annual commitment? Okay.
It can be, sure.
It could be other opportunities as well, and, you know, I
Sure.
don't know that you would ever.
I want to say that counties now are going in a 3-year contract with us. Lincoln County, we just signed Sawyer County, Racine County, they sign a 3-year contract with Sheriff County. The 3-year contract will typically be an episode. Year 2, I give them a podcast, and I give them turn out some day trips, like the ones I was talking about with the postcard from what county, you know, on the Great River Road. And I'll do some social media ads for her to use on her own, it's not on our platform, but for her to use for marketing. We take all that footage and we're like, what do you want? She's like, I want hiking here and I want a motorcycle ride down, and we do those little pieces for her to have assets for her to use for marketing. So they are typically doing 3-year terms with us. I love it that way because it's then, okay, we got the footage, we're shooting, I'm doing it in Tomahawk right now. 3-year contract. So it is really good for her, and I'm just saying it because I was in her role, and it's hard. Every year, like, what is my marketing budget? What am I gonna put it where and how? And it
So-
really just sets the table for her and makes her life easier.
So,
And I'm
so
not
the,
saying it-
the 3-year deals are how much per year then?
Yep,
The
we break it
52.
down, however you want it. If you say, Lisa, put it heavy in the first year, because we have extra funding, and then the second year, pay quarterly, pay whenever your budgets change, you've got money coming in, we don't care how you pay it.
Right.
Discover Wisconsin, you tell us how you wanna pay it.
And I think, John, one of the cool things that could happen here is I think if we pooled everybody's resources together, then we still look great in Trumpealeau County, right? I mean, we've already got us and Stony Creek doing something anyway. So I think the more businesses that you get together at the end of the day, the more, it's still talking Trumpealeau County, right? And then we'll have additional funds to do the natural resources, the nonprofit stuff and all that kind of thing. So I think that's kind of what it's about. But the start here is to figure out what you have for budget and what's left in our GEM grant, or if there's any of that money that we're touching, what are we doing? What do you need to make that work and grow?
Yes. Becky, what do we do with our tourism-related sales, 0.5% sales tax dollars?
Whatever
General,
we use, it goes right into our budget.
so we can't
We
touch
don't-
that.
Yeah.
That's why, again, I say before, you know,
in a different way.
And maybe not all of those funds, but, you know, you could certainly use it for
Part of it.
a big
Part of it, yeah.
I have a question about what's better to start with as far as, our own, just Trempealeau County, or really, like, again, connecting with La Crosse County, that matchup, because they have such a big following.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they do have a, you know, when you say La Crosse,
It's
you
a-
think
yes,
Bluffs,
yeah.
you think the Great River Road. It's not going to hurt you to partner with them. It's gonna be wonderful partnership. But I will say, when you do have a standalone piece and it's your
Right.
baby,
Yeah.
and it's embedded on your website, you're gonna embed this on your website, it'll have La Crosse in there. Not too terrible, because you are neighboring communities, you do need each other. People are in La Crosse, they go north, they're heading out, and they're going out. Having your own episode, though, does give you, it's your baby, and you have more content to cover. I guess I really can't go wrong
Yeah.
either way.
Yeah,
I
there's
think if-
pluses on both sides.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm.
I think if there's a way that we can do it, I think our own is great. That just gives you sort of a bigger presence.
On the map, yeah.
Yeah. As much as it's sometimes painful when you're really passionate about being your own entity, your own county, you're still really part of the greater La Crosse
100%,
market.
yeah,
I mean, and one would argue, are you part of the Eau Claire market and La Crosse market? I would
Right.
say, well, the good thing here is you're wedged in the middle of both. So and you've got the Great River Road on the west and the interstate on the east. You're positioned extremely well that if it's Eau Claire that brought them through the market, fantastic. If it's La Crosse that brought them through the market, if it's Winona that brought them through the market, fantastic. You know, that's why I show the numbers on both sides of the river. It's all about getting more eyes on the prize here, and every time somebody looks at this, they may not have been looking at you, but they were looking at something else, and they go, oh, well, that's just up the road.
Right.
We drove 7, 8, 10, 50 hours to get here,
here, yeah.
and this thing's only 30 minutes to run up to Whitehall to go do this thing, or to run over to Kate. You know, it doesn't matter anymore. And sadly, most people, I mean, you've got the advantage of Trempealeau being, one, such a unique name, and a town named Trempealeau as well. But most people have no idea what county. I mean, they'll go to La Crosse, and if you said what county you're in, they're going, I don't know. You know, they
Right.
don't know.
No, they do
That's
not.
just the reality of travel. But it's all about the cash register. It's not about the emotion of where they went.
Right.
You know.
So Lexi, what are you asking for?
Right now, I'd be asking for the 26,000 because it ties into a different ask I have on
And
line
to
14.
move that, are you asking to move those funds from the wages, the salary part, to marketing? Is that the ask?
Yes.
I'll make that motion to move from the salary to the marketing. The 26, what you asking? 125. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, 26, 125.
Yep.
I would second that motion.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah, so just so I'm understanding, that position that you're taking the money from, is that position going to go away if we don't fill it?
At this moment, we're not filling it, so, we are determining how that goes.
But how about next year?
Well, that's kind of conversation yet that Lexi and I are going to need to have, and probably with Lori and talking about that. I think the question is in marketing, can we do things like this rather than employ another person? But we still wanna invest in these types of things that
Right.
gives broader coverage and things. I don't think you should just wipe away the funds entirely from, but I
Right.
think it's a good, use of funds rather than replacing the person. And that's my conversation with Lexi, like, are you balancing things, okay, do you have enough time? And then what things can you contract out to
Oh,
help
that
get
makes some
done?
sense, yeah.
And that's where, you know, you were just talking about, that you could create content for Lexi at times too, out of that deep role and saying, and, you know, help her.
Yeah, and I get that. I'm just wondering if it is possible or if we might consider converting that position to a marketing budget.
Correct. I think that's the long-term,
That's why we're doing
yes.
interim, but long-term,
Right,
maybe
I think
that's where-
I think that's an amazing idea, and I think that's what we should do, because,
But you may want to you may get to a point where you want to consider, do you want to have that marketing person doing all the marketing? You know, that's the devil's advocate in me.
right, but it could be any partner.
I have a question.
Exactly, yeah.
I have a question. What does that mean? Are you talking about a position? Are you
I-
talking about money?
I just, in my experience, if you leave a position open long enough, people are gonna start, in budget discussions, wanting to take that and put it in a different spot.
Yep.
And so,
It'll be gone
if
from
this is
tourism.
successful, rather than looking at that as a position that we continue to convert over to marketing, why don't we, if it's successful, and
Yes.
if it's doable,
And
make
in-
that a
yeah.
permanent budget move, so it's more secure
Correct.
in the
So money
tourism.
move, that answers
Yes,
my
the money
question.
move.
And that was
Don't
my,
lose it from tourism.
Well, and here's the deal, though, guys. I believe that I believe that part of the reasoning here is that you're actually taking this money and having someone else who already has information, all the resources in that space, and using that. Doesn't mean that we have to use Discover Wisconsin every time. You can definitely switch up partners, and, you know, maybe you decide the next year it's gonna go to a different pod or somebody else that's experienced that has those numbers that Lexi needs and the assets that she needs. But I guess, do we know what that number is, Becky, the total number for that position?
I believe there's around 45,000 that I would have. Oh,
At the beginning of the year,
oh, I could look.
there would be
I should have had that.
that would include benefits, yes. It would be a resource, just saying, yeah.
And I think that's what,
It's not a bad idea, because what you're doing is investing.
correct,
Right.
100%.
If you got an extra couple bucks laying around, instead of letting it sit idle.
We're
you're gonna
investing,
invest in
yep,
something.
yep.
And
And
we've never
honestly,
did this before.
yes, and honestly,
The
to.
only way you're gonna find out is to try.
And to be honest with you, I think that part of the thing is, it's impossible for Lexi to be able to do the same things that some of these larger companies can, just because they have the numbers behind them.
Sure.
And they have other resources that they pull from, so they already have that readership, they already have that following. And us trying to build that following from 5,000 to, you know, 1 million is gonna be tough,
Right.
you know?
And the other thing you're gonna have is everybody's a little inquisitive.
Sure.
They're a little gun shy. And once you try it, hey, how
Yeah.
do you get into that?
Yep, I can tell you as a business individual, it's a huge investment. It really is, but it's one of those things where you have to look and say, okay, how am I gonna be able to use this 3, 4, 5 years? You know, how do I spread that investment over those years? And that's where it makes sense to us. It certainly wouldn't for one shot, one individual kind of thing. And I've been in this game with Discover Wisconsin long enough to know that camping for the fun of it, which was done 15 years ago, you'll still see reruns from it. So she didn't mention that part about how those reruns come up and what you get from that.
That's cool.
And obviously, things change and all those kinds of things, but it's still, I think, very, very supportive, and it makes that work good. And it just makes Lexi's job a lot easier to be able to deal with it.
This year it was just over 50,000 for that role, and she was here until February.
Okay,
That includes benefits, health
No.
insurance?
I don't think so.
That seems kind of low.
If I
I
got,
think it is probably just
if
that.
I got that, it's just wages and salary.
Okay.
So
it would
I
be
don't
more
believe
when
fringe
you
was
take into
included.
considering, yeah.
So do we want to consider the whole 50 grand? Because
Yes.
we would lose that potentially in this coming
Correct.
budget process if we don't show that we spent it much as Bob and all of us are discussing here.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make more sense, that we at least?
Over a 3-year contract? It would be that 50,000
I
over a 3-year?
don't know if you want it over a 3-year, even if we want
No,
to keep.
no, I think you'd want to do it this year.
I think you're right.
the wage line item to marketing line item.
Yes,
And then you can make determinations.
correct.
Yeah, you don't have to be locked into, sure.
Discover Wisconsin and how.
But then you can make determinations going on. You're not
How
locked
does
in for 3 years, you're not
That
locked in for any
happen out of
period
the
of time.
finance committee then, or who?
Yeah,
We make a
somebody have to-
recommendation to them? Is that the gig or what?
Yeah, how to,
We don't really have a lot of policy on it right now. So as far as we are right now, it's this committee making that decision. And so, to change the line item, over. So you can make that determination. So saying, what was the position called again?
Communications coordinator.
So, making a motion to remove the communications coordinator wages and fringe to, a marketing line item and then Lexi can give you an update next month on the total amount of money that was, but she'll put it into a new the marketing line item rather than.
I think there's a motion on the table with that.
there is.
There is for 26,000.
Yep, yep.
So you have to amend that.
Yep.
Spend it all in one place, don't do that.
So what's your pleasure, guys? Shall we?
So to amend that motion, Kristen did.
Does she wanna restate her motion?
Do you want to amend it to the,
I will amend my motion to making the communications coordinator
Salary
salary and fringe to marketing. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I make that motion to amend my first,
For this year?
for this year,
For 2026.
2026.
and do I have to second that again? I second that amended motion.
Okay, any discussion about that? Okay, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right,
Now, can you make the decision then to work with Discover Wisconsin? Is that the,
That's the next item,
oh,
yeah.
that's the next one, okay, sorry.
okay. All right, so then number 11, possible action to discover Wisconsin. Lexi, do you want to throw that out there?
Can we move the marketing funds from the community, that we just moved to work with Discover Wisconsin? I can amend the plan that we have so we could get a better insight for the 3-year contract, but looking for an initial yes to work with them to start filming.
At the proposed 26,000, or
Yes.
would you?
You know what, I would just suggest maybe that Discover Wisconsin work with us just a little bit and give us a bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah, for Lexi to put together a little plan for us that is the best moving forward, so that we don't have to make a snap decision here, but that Discover Wisconsin still will keep in contact with us and let us know options and ideas, and before they give away that other spot, they would contact us.
And could that include, maybe a 2 or a 3-year plan with the money that we have today? Could we prepay for a 2-year gig is sort of the question.
Sure, yeah.
Be creative.
Yep. But I think you can do a lot of fun things with that, Lexi, and, I'm happy to help you. Lisa will help you, Drew will help you, and I think we could put together something really cool. But I think it'd be a great idea to bring it back next month and then just have it all laid out particular, and
Well, and
then
you-
Lisa will hang on to it
And
for
you
us.
stated you've got a proposed line item budget, marketing budget that would come from this as well, so you're already prepared for that. And then creating a KPI ROI approach to what those dollars
Yep,
would have a return on. And I can help you with that.
So essentially just a yes to work with them for a minimum of the 2 segments at the 26,000, but then in August, I will come with a plan of what it would look like for 2 segments versus a full episode.
correct. And before we go ahead and grab that section, Lisa's just gonna hold it for us. And then Lexi, you can put together a larger plan that we can look at. If we need to move forward prior to August due to some filming or that kind of things, Lisa will let us know. Does that make sense, guys?
It does, and can I add one more thing?
Sure.
I really like the idea of what's your top 5 or top
Yes,
10
yes, yep.
items. It doesn't have to be, it could be just out of Lexi's mind, it could be true or false, but, don't spend a lot of time on it, but maybe we could add to and brainstorm on that as
I
well.
think we have some great numbers on that, so I think we
It
can,
might already be done, yeah, I don't know.
but we can
I do have it.
definitely,
I
And
want to be
again,
a
if you want to do
tourist.
a deep dive at any point, talk about that inventory. I mean, I'm more than happy to come
I
back.
think we
and-
should definitely take.
Won't
Drew
be
up on that
August.
also. Yeah.
Okay? After that, maybe, but, no, I
It'll
would be
be
more than happy to work
July?
with you. You do have some of that data in your Pilch and Barnett data that came out of it, so, but,
Wonderful.
that helps to identify the 5 segments and what your true inventory is.
Yeah, and I think in the interest of time, maybe we can break that down to a little bit of a smaller committee, Lexi, that we just work on, and then we can, anybody that's interested in that, we can get together at another little time and pull that all together, go through everything that we have and kind of move that direction. Does that make sense? And then, Lexi, do you have your communications report?
Do we need a motion?
Or do we need a
I'll
motion?
make a motion that we move forward with Discover Wisconsin.
I second that motion.
Okay. That is, thank you, there you go.
I'm all excited.
Okay, so do we need any discussion on that? Do we need to take okay. So just go ahead and take a vote on that, make sure that we have that in place, that will be the plan, it's just at what level, we'll talk about soon. Okay, thank you.
I'll have that for August.
Okay, perfect, that sounds great.
Okay, com report.
I'm sorry, did we vote on that?
We didn't
Yeah, I
vote.
think we need to vote.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right, no problem. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, I've got to pee.
Okay.
Do you think we?
I'm real brief on my stuff, so if
Okay,
you
great.
want me to wait, I can.
No,
Or
just
to
go
check.
right ahead, Lexi, and just go ahead.
For the communications report, I got locked out of the government page and the tourism page, so I don't have the stats for you this month. But I'm working with them. I have a meeting this afternoon to get back on, to grab those stats, and then I can share those out hopefully later this week with you. And then still working through internal newsletters, ADA compliance changes, and then the strategic plan, highlighting some of the things that I've been working on that I'm particularly proud of that John had asked for at our last meeting. As you know, there's 6 overall goals, but I've been working through the organizational chart. The restructuring slightly happened before I got here, but then kind of working through the aftermath of the restructure and what that looks like and bringing our team together. I've been creating a content hub, so that's housing all of our past posts that we've had, different ideas that I have, along with the content calendar. And then we have an audience analysis that I've been referencing that we had from Pilch and Barnett, and then that will be getting updated this year as well. And then on that, working on always using our brand guidelines and then the core elements in there with the standardized templates. So I've recreated those and also relooked at some of our branding to get a more inviting font. Trempealeau County, when you look at our logo, is the main font, but it's really hard to design ads with. So I've been adding in some sub-fonts, working with designers, or looking to work with designers on what those will be when we're looking at the 2027 ads that I have. And then also through that, digital tools was one of the big ones, so a project management platform. That is a lot of my background, so I have streamlined a lot of processes and day-to-days, so if anything happens to me, at least that's built out. Kind of when I stepped into the role, I was building the plane as I've been flying it. And so it's been a lot of work on the back end, but I'm in a much better spot now where things can run a lot smoother, and there is a process that if I ever needed help or needed to offboard something, I have that created already.
What fraction of the plane is built?
The wings? Part of the body? That's a great question. I was not prepared for that, John. Hoping to have most of it finished by the end of the year. So looking at that, then efficient team communication. Kevin and I are meeting every other week and then really collaborating more on things that I'm posting on the tourism side, on what he can post on the TV station side, and making sure what he's filming is going to make sense for the county, and really trying to put more of a focus on like the government side first. So we're looking to have, who's calling our boardroom? Looking to have like an overlook at the candidates running for clerk of courts and sheriff. We want to make sure that we're interviewing them and maybe not filming fireworks. So just kind of looking at it with a more strategic lens, that's gonna be serving the people in the county in a more positive way.
I just have a question about that. Time's running short, and I agree with that completely, that the candidates is an important item to interview or have presentations. Do you have time for that?
Yep, it'll be getting done this month.
Perfect.
I reached out to Melissa Kono this morning, so waiting to see if she wants to do that again, but otherwise we're gonna look at a plan B if it will be myself interviewing or Kevin.
Great, thank you.
And then the last thing I'll touch on is the website. So a lot of this goal is going to be met this year with the new tourism website that we're working on with Pilch and Barnett, but then also revamping the Trumpealeau County website that I'm working closely with IT on. That will be getting done in February to make sure we're meeting ADA compliance and just to give it a refresh. Any questions on that part?
I didn't see, you're reading from a report, I didn't see it in the packet.
That was also my bad because I thought I submitted it and I did not. So,
You can send it all out to all of us.
yeah, I can
Perfect.
send it all.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. That's what I thought I did. It was a user error. Things got a little wild last week. Sorry. Okay, that's all I have for the comm report.
Okay, so then we're on tourism and economic development update?
Yes, so I've been working through Discover Wisconsin, or Travel Wisconsin listings, which Drew alluded to in his presentation. Still working through those, still going by category, just to try and keep it fair across the county. And then the tourism website, I do have some mock-ups to show, but maybe it'll make more sense if I email those out.
Sure.
Just based on the set of time. And then if you guys have any feedback, it is just a PDF or a JPEG of it, but what Pilch and Burnett presented to Becky and I about 2 weeks ago.
Wonderful.
And then we have photography dates set. Our photographer is named Pete, so I have an email going out today that will be going out to the businesses to see if they would like to be included on that to get updated brand photography in the summer, and then there's a second date in the fall.
Excellent. And all listings on Travel Wisconsin require an image.
Yep.
So if it's a business that needs to be listed, we need to have a photo. That's policy, August 31st, we are gonna officially draw the line. It's not because we're trying to crack down. It actually hurts our website by not having the imagery on there. I've taken 600 photographs this year just for listings that didn't have photos, so we've got 1,800 listings right now that do not have photos.
None should be mine. But those are ones where I'm doing the initial listing because it can take about a week to 2 weeks to get approved. And then I'm sending what I've created based off of the company or the business's website, and then asking them if they'd like to revamp everything once they can kind of see what it looks like on the website. And then that's where they can also send me additional pictures. I am the hub for that in Trumpealeau County. If they want it on there, they do have to reach out to me. And then the housing study, Hannah and I did focus groups last week, which is why it was a little hectic, but we did one in Arcadia and then one in Whitehall, really trying to get a bigger grasp on the 30s to 40s demographic. And we are having another one on Friday specific to childcare. And then social media, Kevin did the drone footage. He posted one video about Oliva, and he is working through those. Those are on YouTube. And with that note, we did hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is really good for us, so we're excited on that. And then we're gonna continue to put the other community, they're about a minute long, videos through there, and then I'll be transferring them into Reels for Facebook. And then the GEM grant, as you know, we received it, and we were presented with that check today. And then I'm again continuing to think about ads for 2027. This next year, we're looking at doing a larger ad in La Crosse County, or Explore La Crosse, and then Winona that showcases the whole county, and putting more money in that, where we would do a smaller map for our county, just because they have a distribution that I also can't match, so. Any questions?
Great.
Excellent.
All right, and then number 14, discussion and possible action, moving budget funds from wages and salary to repair and maintenance.
Yes, so I have another fun one for you. I am looking to move $9,000 from that, which is also why I didn't ask for the full 50,000 from wages and salaries. There was an IT update that we had to do to get in compliance when there was an issue with a surrounding county where they had IT impacts. So Tim has been moving forward with making sure everything is secure, which was a lot of changes to WTCO to make sure that we were secure. The overall cost is actually $17,031, but I have funds from the WTCO donations that I would be splitting that with, but I don't want to totally wipe that money out. So I'm looking for 9,000 of that to come from the wages and salaries to cover, and then the remaining I will cover from the WTCO fund.
Well, I don't think we have a choice on that.
Come from marketing, because it's already been moved.
Right.
Oh, yes, so now it has to come, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I hate to do that, but I don't know if is there any other place to get that $9,000 from?
I don't think, well,
Doesn't sound like it, huh?
It's, yeah, it was to keep the TV station.
Compliant, yeah, there's
So
not,
no-
yeah, there's nothing we can do about that, so.
I would move that, that Lexi move the 9,000, the required 9,000 from the marketing budget to, to cover the IT costs that were discussed.
Okay,
That could be adequate.
do you have a second on that?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion will carry. Okay, and then number 15, discussion of possible action, make my move, Rebecca and Lexi.
Yeah, Becky can start.
Okay. So we had brought this forward, I don't know, it was at the end of the year, I guess.
Yeah.
maybe, in 25, there was a grant that was available through the state of Wisconsin and trying to, do workforce attraction and have individuals move to counties across the state. And so, and cities, and so we could do the work in-house and try to market and try to, reach out to people, to actually move here to the county, or we could team up with another organization, similar to what we just did with
Thank you.
Discover Wisconsin.
Thanks, Drew.
Thanks, Drew. Sorry to run off. Yeah. And, so anyway, exec finance and this committee agreed to, use some economic development funds. Get that kind as well. We were just going to use, the funds from the grant to help pay for this, and then in years 2 or 3, we would have to be a partner in paying through our economic development funds. We did not receive the grant, and so, subsequently, we've been in conversation again with Make My Move. They would like to talk to us about another way or opportunity to maybe still work with them. And so Scott, is on the virtual presence here, if you wanna jump in, Scott, and take over.
Yeah, can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, good. Yeah, thank you, Rebecca, for that. Yeah, with Make My Move, as we were working towards the grant for the county, we worked with conditional contracts, and we had the conditional contracts in place to say, if you get the grant, we will launch your talent attraction program. So what we did was we actually built out the recruitment pages for Trempealeau County in anticipation of the grant. The grant was not awarded. However, if I can share right here, we still, in our good faith and what we wanted to do, was built out the bones for a talent attraction program for Trempealeau County. And so this was with the help of Rebecca and Lexi to tell the story of Trempealeau. And when the grant was not awarded, we realized, all right, there's still been a lot of work in here. And we know that there are people that still are interested in the area. So, and people wanted to do was present this opportunity.
You're cutting out quite a bit.
Your Okay, I'm in the middle of Kentucky. I apologize. I'll go faster then.
Scott, can you get
we wanted to build this page and say, let us recruit your county. Yeah, a little bit of background about how Make My Move is.
Your light isn't on. I don't know what's going on there.
I can hear you.
Hey,
Yeah,
Scott,
I can hear you.
Scott, okay, I'm just wondering, we've got a couple new members on the
Yeah.
board. I'm wondering, can you just go back a little bit and explain what you guys do?
Okay.
And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Make My Move is an online marketplace where every single day, thousands of people will visit our website to look for a new place to call home. And there is a large audience of people out there who are looking for a new place, lower cost of living, better housing, better schools, better environment. And these geographical free agents are coming to our website and saying, where are some places that I can call home? It's a different way in which people are looking for a new place to live. People are saying, community first, I will find the job or bring my job with me after I arrive at the county. So this website, with over 1 million people visiting annually, is the place where people are coming to say, I'd like to learn more about living here. And then I actually want to apply to see if I can move and live and be accepted into this community's recruitment program. And then what we are doing is when they apply, Make My Move is now vetting all of the individuals who apply. We will need W-2s, background checks. We need to know if they're filling a job in the local area. What is the job offer? What is the job paying? Make My Move vets every single individual that applies and then is looking to move into the county. So for you in Trempealeau, you will not only know who moves in, you will know when they move in, and because you'll know their income, you'll know the economic impact that they're able to have in that community. So we are recruiting your place to say this is a good place for you to move to and to call home. We have one Wisconsin community that did earn the grant, and they're currently on our page, and that's Fond du Lac. And Fond du Lac right now has had over 350 people apply to move to their program through their Make My Move program that they have here on the website. So if you move to Fond du Lac, these are the benefits that you will receive. And what's great about these benefits is someone moves in and they're no longer a stranger. They now get connected with local chambers, get connected with different leaders around the community, have an opportunity to see different vendors around the community. So Fond du Lac right now has an active page, and we want to give Trempealeau an opportunity to do that as well. And here is a breakdown. Can you see this application data?
Yes.
Okay, so here is what we will do for Trempealeau. We want to market you to our nationwide audience. We want to generate a pipeline of interest. And in doing so, we will vet all of them, and we want to work on them calling this place home. As we do this, Trempealeau will receive monthly data like we are doing right now for Fond du Lac. So Fond du Lac, this is their first 30 days of data. The average age of their applicants was 40 years old. 40% were going to bring a spouse, 39% have kids. And 34% of the people applied are age 30 to 39. Here are the states that they are coming from. Illinois is number 1. 9% of their applicants are coming from Texas. 7% from Florida. None of them from Wisconsin. We are not relocating anyone that is currently in the state. 36 different states are represented here in this demographic they have. 19% of the people who applied in Fond du Lac are in healthcare. So they are actually applying to fill healthcare roles in Fond du Lac, and they have 2 programs. Fill workforce or bring your remote job. 76% of the people who apply are looking to fill a local job. And those are the two paths that we would want to have as well for Trempealeau. And then housing data. Housing is always a gigantic story, no matter where the market is or the area. 32% are looking for single family homes. Will month budget, how many bathrooms, all of this information and data is yours to help you with future strategies and be able to have insight into who is interested in moving into your community. So for us, we wanted to run the entire play we had planned for and be the marketing arm for Trempealeau County. And here's more of what they like about the community. We'll tell you what's their top priority, share any concerns, and 70% of the people who applied to Fond du Lac have no prior connection to the area. These are net new residents who would show interest and give you this information to move into the area. Does that help cover things for our new audience, you think, Rebecca?
Yes, I think that's good, thank you. Are there initial questions about what Make My Move does? And initially, when we had this conversation, then again, Scott's Make My Move group, they would be paid significantly, most of their cost through the grant piece through the state of Wisconsin. So because we did not get funded, and most of our counterparts did not as well. But Fond du Lac did. They're seeing a huge amount of success with that. And so Scott, now if you want to kind of share what's your thought on how to move forward yet with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what we wanted to do for you all was when I spoke with Rebecca and I said, look, we have a page built. Let's see if we can run a pilot program. And understanding we are in processes and budgets have been set, but we were looking at $20,000 annually that we would then we would market the community to our nationwide audience and develop all that pipeline data of interest, vet all of those individuals that apply to you, and then Make My Move would work towards moving them there. We would want to say, let's market you nationally to people outside of Wisconsin, tell your story, and let's have those individuals then move in, know those individuals, and then help them be acclimated with the community.
I have a question. Could you refresh with us what the applicants, the successful applicants, what they get out of this?
When they move into the community?
Well, in the program, if they're accepted into the program, you help them, you
Yep.
help relocate them. What does this mean, you help them?
Yes, good question. So when you apply, we will ask questions such as, what is your age? We get their email, their phone number, and we want to know when do they want to move? What are they looking at in terms of when they want to move? And then we have a fulfillment team at Make My Move that will actually speak with people. They will talk with them. Hey, thank you for your interest in Trempealeau County. What is it that drew you to Trempealeau County? Hey, we're looking at wanting to be on the west side of the state. They got a great cost of living, incredible outdoor life. We're like, perfect. What questions do you have? And as they have questions about schools, support groups, things to do in the community, we would actually help lean on Lexi there and help on having her answer some of those local questions. And when they come to the website, because they have to verify their income, because they're running background checks, because they meet certain standards you're looking for, they're already engaged. So we are not having to talk them into this. They're already saying, I'm interested. Can you help me answer more about my family? So we will then connect them with realtors. Oftentimes they will visit a community to see homes. And then the locals there will tell their story. They fall in love and they move into the new community. When they move in, that's when those soft incentives are delivered, whether it's a chamber membership, whether it's a park pass, a free cup of coffee. Then those types of things are delivered, but not delivered until they sign their mortgage or lease or they start their new job. They have to hit thresholds and have to hit different markers in order for us to show you the success.
I think Renee's question might be more to, so what do they get in the end? You know, what, once they're,
With the grant, there was a financial piece that they received
okay.
a certain amount of money.
Okay,
And so
but this,
we're-
this was good, but that too.
but that, okay.
Right, but that's the part, we didn't get the grant, so that would have helped to pay, make my move, but also help in the financial piece to these individuals. But what Scott is saying is the soft piece, is like, we would get a package together of all of these things to provide and saying, here's, you know, a day at Champions and things like that. So, you know, golfing and things like that. So, to put some
Yeah.
type of package together, that way we wouldn't have the financial piece.
Okay.
Incentive.
Yeah, we don't want to offer a cash incentive because of the way the grant didn't come through. Instead, let's just offer those really great things that you as a community have to offer to help get them plugged into that community, into whether it's Whitehall, wherever they are in the county, help them get plugged in.
Okay, so Lexi, do we have budgeted money for this? Have we budgeted anything for this?
This year's budget, no, is coming out of a special projects fund. I would have to work with Becky to put it in the 2027.
So we have the CapEx funds that we had set aside, a portion of those for economic development. And that's the piece that, looking for your interest in this, whether we want to, you know, pursue that, but we did have, set aside, I think about $100,000 yet that we had set aside, because we set aside 50 for Petrick Park. And so we could take the funds out of the CapEx funds for this purpose.
The cost then that we're asking for, is it 20,000, did I hear?
I believe.
Yeah, Scott, do you want to talk
Yes,
about the
that's correct.
20,000 again, please, and what that covers?
Yeah, that would be make my move, then using that money towards marketing you to our nationwide audience. And when I say that, Fond du Lac has people applying from 36 different states. So we'll be moving people, having people interested in you who are not in Wisconsin. And then that's also utilizing the Make My Move fulfillment team. Our group, we would market for you stories and everything. Yeah, it would be a 1-year partnership that would allow for us to build a successful pipeline of data and numbers, because the talent attraction grant will open up once again in July of 2027. And we can put together and tell your story. And then when we go back for that grant and we go to the WEDC, here are the results that Trempealeau did. If you were able to help them out more as a state, we think XYZ would have been able to help. But this allows us to promote you and tell your story for a successful opportunity for another run at the grant.
Yeah, hoping that this would give us data saying how successful, you know,
Yeah.
how successful it is, and people are still.
And the data will be, here's the average age, here's the household income, here's a breakdown of the kids and the ages. Yeah, all kinds of data for you to say, what kind of housing are they looking for? What is their budget for renting? All of that information is collected and verified.
So Scott, what you're saying is that we got, that Fond du Lac got 350 participants in this. So at that 20,000, just say we would get 350 participants, that'd be about $57 a lead or a person? Is that 350 numbers that came in or inquiries?
No, so what that is that is ongoing applications. So they've had
Applications,
350 people apply to
Okay.
move to the program. And here's the thing, we don't stop there. So when it's all said and done, Fond du Lac might have close to 2,500 people apply. Most of our communities average around 1,000 applicants over a calendar year. And the good part is those are actually qualified applicants that meet your criteria. So what we need is they cannot live in Wisconsin. If they're going to fill a job locally, we'd like for them to fill a job that pays at least $50,000. We'd like for them to bring at least a $55,000 job with them if they're remote. If they don't meet these criterias, we simply don't vet them and move them to a pile. So we're only working with engaged people for you, and this will just be a running application and pipeline for you all.
Okay, so if we would get 1,000 leads within this year, Lexi, can you market to anyone for $20 a lead to be able to get them to look at coming to this area? Is there any marketing you know of?
Yeah, you wouldn't-
That you can
Oh.
provide? Okay.
Yeah, I think your point is saying, like, the value of working with Make My Move, and if Lexi would be able to take that on and accomplish what they're doing, is why we went with Make My Move to begin with, to apply to the state, because we don't have the personnel and the time to do something like that, all that vetting. And that's why we felt like the Make My Move really had a leg up on it. We're quite disappointed with the state of Wisconsin, and not sure what the conversation was, because I had multiple conversations with individuals that were just didn't quite understand their thinking, I guess, on the decisions on that. But because this is a group that has, they have a track record of being very successful in this in other states. And so that's why we wanted to work with them specifically. And because we knew we weren't going to be able to manage this on our own.
What's
Here is
the,
Fond du Lac.
what's the
So Fond du Lac,
percentage
right?
of applicants that actually make a move?
Yeah, that's a great question. It usually hovers, depending on where they are, it can vary from 3% to 8% of the applications that move.
So how
Most of our
many, can you
movers will
talk about
move-
another state and give us an example? Because I know you shared with Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana, we've been working with the state of Indiana now for a couple of years. And we just moved our 1,000th household into the state of Indiana just a couple of weeks ago. So that's close to 3,000 new residents that have moved into the state of Indiana. And the one thing that the state likes is 91,000 people have applied to move into Indiana. Now, not everyone can move. It might not be the right community. There might be a life event. On all of our applications, we want them to move within 6 months of applying, and some people can't hit that number. So there's just varying. But the state takes all of that data there, and what they're able to do is aggregate that data and tell a story to local builders. Tell the story to the local employers. Hey, 19% of our people apply are in healthcare. But yes, it's been incredibly successful in Indiana. I'm currently in Kentucky, where Kentucky, just like Wisconsin, has passed money, and there's been some very incredibly successful programs. Kansas has passed money, just cleared the 100th household for Kansas, and that's a program that started in January. So things move along very quickly.
Scott,
And
what's
this
the,
is the
what's the economic impact to us from this?
yes,
For one-
yes,
for
that's
one
a great
family.
question. Yes, and those are the numbers. Let's see if I can pull up the original file for that.
Yeah, you did have that information the last time, I remember too, on the
Yeah, let me
ROI.
see if we can. Yeah, let me find that for you.
Then we can
all.
take a look
So
at
here's what we.
worst case scenario, it's 3%, so that's 30 new families. What does that bring to the county?
Yeah, and what the best part about that is, even if it's the 3%, you look
Right,
at
I'm
like
going
that
low
was
here,
that- yeah, and that back end that I showed you right there was Fond du Lac, and you can now see there's over 900 people who have applied. I looked at it a couple of days and it was
Right.
350. That's how quickly that thing can really move
Sure.
for them. So what we are doing for communities, here we go. This is the page for you. Let me do this. Trying to find my share button again. There we go. All right. Share. Here we go. So this is what we wanted to do originally for the grant, was 10 households, and the annual economic impact, you can see that. So the math is you're looking at around $53,000 of economic impact for each individual. And then you're looking at that point around $8,000 in annual state and local taxes generated. We have a program with Implan. Whenever someone moves in, we plug them in, and they will run the data against your current residents and say, okay, we moved someone in with this amount of income. Here's the economic spending and the taxes you should expect from these individuals.
Scott, what happened to your number then? The
The 29, that was from the grant. That was from the grant.
No,
That's,
no.
Yeah, ignore that. That was,
No, the 3%
Yeah,
that we were
so-
gonna.
So this
Yes.
was, this
So
was.
now we're
uh,
at 10 instead of 30. So
no,
that
this is,
isn't a,
this is, no, this is, if this was our original number, if you wanted an ROI, our original goal was to move 10 households into Trempealeau County.
But what I'm
And if
saying,
we move
Scott,
to
is,
10
is your math doesn't work then. If you're saying that, your rate of turnover, or the rate that you convert, is 3% at the lowest, the math doesn't work. Because that would give us
Oh,
30,
because
correct?
you're, so you're like assuming 300 applications, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 300
So
is
how many
what
are you
Fond du
assuming,
Lac had in their-
100?
A month, like, yeah, it is a constant 1 year cycle. Yeah, we would look for over 1,000 applicants and continue to move on from there. There is no stopping because of how many people visit the website. And when they gauge that interest, yeah, we don't put a cap on applications. We want to go
No,
for you.
that's, yeah, okay.
But the question is
Yeah.
if we have 1,000 applicants and 3% of those would convert, is what we thought
Yeah.
the number was?
Because you said between
Yeah,
3
yeah.
and 20, and I took 3.
It could be 3 to 8%. Yeah,
3
and
to
it
8,
really
yeah.
depends on the communities on how quickly they move, and that's just across the board for us. And that 10 years was a 2-year program for the grant that we were going to run, so that's 5 households over 1 year.
So were you looking for?
But that's able to show you the.
Which I think she might have been looking for an economic impact per person using our math numbers, or per
So, yeah,
family.
so I guess what is your number? Is it 30 households that we're gonna get, or is it 10? I think you're telling me it's 10.
No, we actually would not put a number on it, on the households for the pilot.
Yeah, but you did.
I think that slide is just showing if 10 people actually
Right.
I
relocated.
get that part. Yep,
That's his
100%.
math. Well, can't we just use that and extrapolate?
Sure.
Take the 10, the bottom line. So it would be new annual statement. So would we go with the new annual state and local tax? So it would be the new annual, the gross annual economic output would be 528,995 divided by 10. But then that's gross. You'd have to net it out for the costs associated with that.
How does this complement private sector recruitment on its own? I mean, our major businesses are obviously they're out there recruiting like crazy for all levels of staffing, right? And so are we
Yeah.
duplicating those efforts with this effort in some way? How is it?
No, what we would actually complement and do what they're doing. We would say, hey, what kind of jobs are you all looking to fill? And if they already have programs in place that are doing those type of things, then let's go ahead and promote those jobs that they have out there. We ourselves would want to just be able to promote jobs that are out there and available for the individuals to apply to. We can
So would this help more the small businesses, Scott, that aren't necessarily doing that heavy recruitment? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
It'll help all of the businesses. When we actually meet with a lot of leaders at the business level, a lot of them also are always very candid and say, we end up stealing from each other. We'll end up just moving someone from one side that comes to the other place. So it's always like this because of the ability then to bring in a new audience from out of state. So on this Fond du Lac page, as you come to Fond du Lac, what we would do for you all is start to share who are the local employers that are hiring for there, and actually promote those businesses on the website and link to their job pages. These are large employers. We would take it from the smallest to the largest and just let them know, hey, here are job opportunities that are available in Trempealeau.
So the larger discussion is the state of Wisconsin is interested in attracting people to the state, and that's why they put out the talent attraction grant. So we are looking at the economic impact broken down on just taxes coming in on those individuals. They can be either remote or work here, but bring children to the school district to help the schools that are losing, to bring people to the businesses that are restaurants and eating and buying things and such, to try to reduce some of the population loss. So anyway, I think the bigger thing with the grant was that there was a bigger we were just talking like there would be a bigger ROI, they'd have more time to put into that because there were going to be more funds coming from the grant, and so that's what we were looking at. And then, so I think, is that correct, Scott?
Yeah, with the grant, you were able to apply some of those dollars for people that moved into. We could put household target numbers on there and give that reporting back to the staff, et cetera. And so what we want to do for the pilot is run your page, get you applications, get you data, prove to the state Trempealeau can recruit people. Here's what we've done, and then work on actually moving those people there throughout the next year. But we didn't want to put a household number on it because we wanted to market you and run the play and show you how Make My Move would work for you.
Scott, who else is in your program, the Make Your Move program from Wisconsin? Is it only Fond du Lac, or do you have anyone else from Wisconsin?
Fond du Lac is the only one that received the grant. However, we were working with many communities because if 91,000 people applied in Indiana, we knew there'd be plenty of opportunities in Wisconsin. So Fond du Lac is the only actual program that's up and running. Eau Claire, here are Black River Falls. They actually have a vote tonight to see if they'd like to run the pilot program.
Yep.
Conto County, Jefferson and Dodge, they came through the Thrive program. There's West Alice. So none of these people, only Fond du Lac is the one we're actively marketing
Wonderful.
and working towards. And that's what today's meeting is to say, would you want us to move you up there the way that Fond du Lac is?
Right. So
If I could just make a statement, I think, John, you weren't here at the beginning of the presentation. From what I recall from the last presentation, it's a website, it's a national website that they have that actually, there are families that are looking
For- yeah.
for a better place to live. And they provide this website, giving all of our demographics and all the wonderful things about us that may attract people. And then they do the legwork to attract those people to come to our county, in a nutshell.
And I think it's a great program, Scott. I think it's something that we want to look at. You know, my question is do you have any room on the 20,000 just to get a pilot program started? Is there anything that you can do on a little lesser scale, just to get us started?
I can connect with Rebecca and see what the numbers look like for her.
Because you already have it built, correct?
Yeah, that was it. And we're like, hey, this is already built.
Right.
It's an opportunity to light that up. You know, even the building process of it.
Right.
When we broke that down for the contract was actually $5,000 to build the page. We actually we were doing that just out of faith of hoping to get the grant when we didn't have it. We were like, well, but we have the page built. Now we're like, hey, if you guys are looking for national marketing with the $20,000, we can put you in our national algorithm, market, promote, press, and drive everything to the program page. And yeah, we would just take that page that I saw and we could hit the switch and light it up and have you all in front of people.
Yep. Yes, I think that's what we should do, I think this is a great intro. We'll bring it back next month. And then if you want to put a pencil to it there, Scott, and see if you can,
Yes.
if you have any wiggle room there. I think we're definitely interested in looking at it, right, guys?
I don't, where I struggle is, I think I heard 20,000 of CapEx funds that we'd have to take from. So what are we not gonna get done if we do that? Is that for Petrick Park?
No, it was, originally it was identified for economic development.
Which
So-
is this, yeah.
Okay.
So let's do that, though, if you guys don't mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that money is still there.
Right. So how about if we table it till next,
Yeah.
next session? And then we also look if there's other opportunities that might be, anything else you can think of, Rebecca, that might work well for that funding. Does that make sense? All right,
At
wonderful.
our next meeting, if we're remote at the park, we aren't gonna have internet access.
Okay, so maybe September then,
Have to be in September then.
okay. I'll be in contact with you, Scott.
All right, sounds good,
All right,
guys.
thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Jack, I'm hoping you can do me a solid here and kind of get through this as quick as you can. So the
yeah.
Friends of Trempealeau Lake.
So we have a couple people from the DNR, so I'm gonna let them present.
Okay.
What I can do for the sake of time is, I guess we can maybe jump to 17, and get, Bob his reinstatement for appointment for
Wonderful, let's do
citizen.
that.
So, but then we've got Buzz and Gene that are gonna be set in the next couple of years. But then I can, for 18 and 19, we can either, move forward with those or, just present at the park, just for the sake of time.
Okay, that would be great.
So defer 'em till the park.
I think so.
Yes,
Okay.
I think we should do that. Does that work?
Yeah, so I don't know if we want to jump ahead to 17 and then we can end the meeting off with, the Trempealeau folks.
Perfect, let's do that. Go to 17 quickly.
So a reinstatement of citizen committee member, Bob's term ended December 2025. So we would need to vote as a committee to, I think it's a 3-year term for our citizen committee members.
I propose we reinstate Bob Petrick for his next 3-year term.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Does Bob want another 3-year term?
Oh, that's not an option. So, all right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Bob.
And then, yeah, I guess jump back to 16 and wrap up with the Trempealeau folks.
Wonderful, we appreciate that, Jack.
So, friends of Trempealeau Lakes dredging proposal with the Wisconsin DNR, we've got guests, Sean Giblin and Christina Pacheca. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong. But I originally had a meeting with Bud back in November. We were talking about some nonprofit stuff. And then Supervisor Turner had connected us to consider the Friends of Ask here, and they're going to be dredging that second lake or looking to dredge it. So the lakes are kind of a draw, especially in the winter with ice fishing season. And then we also own about 10 lots down in this area. It's not adjacent, but it is close by. So I'll hand it off to Bud, Sean, and Christina. Thanks for coming, guys, and waiting a while.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jack. Yeah, I'll get this kicked off here too, and then we'll run to Bud, and then Christina is available to answer some property management questions down the Trempealeau Lakes too. And so, really just to kick this off too, I mean, in a lot of ways, I think you guys are really lucky to have the Trempealeau Lakes in Trempealeau County too. This is completely unique on the upper Mississippi River, and I think a lot of times people don't fully appreciate like how unique the Trempealeau Lakes really are. So in my position, I cover the Mississippi River border waters from Prescott all the way to the Illinois border too. And in my opinion, this really is the premier collection of backwaters, really in that entire stretch of water, and arguably in the entire system. And so really what makes the Trempealeau Lakes, really unique. One of the things is just the source water. First, second, and third lakes are groundwater fed lakes. Mud Lake receives water from one of the distributaries of the Black River. Long Lake will receive water from either the Black River or the Mississippi River, depending on the stage of those two rivers. And really situated, in the middle of that and isolated in the middle of all that is Round Lake too. So there's an incredible amount of habitat diversity, packed into a really small area. And this again, completely unique in the entire system, and really worth preserving and protecting too. And really, in addition to the biological diversity and productivity we have down there, it's a really unique cultural area. There's been a lot of talk in this meeting about tourism. It's actually quite fun to take people down to the Trempealeau Lakes. It kind of has the sort of bayou feel up north too. It's completely unique from a cultural standpoint too. So you really just a lot of assets in this area. And so really in my position, I'll get a lot of complaints about a lot of different areas during any given year too. And I don't really tally complaints, but I do pay attention to where they're coming from too. And really the Trempealeau Lakes has resulted in really the most complaints called or emailed to me really over the last about 7 or 8 years too. And this is what Second Lake looks like in the summer months at this point too. People have noticed a lot of the changes occurring down there too. If you look at this, this July view of Second Lake, not a lot of recreational, not a lot of ecological value. And really as a result of some of these challenges, the Friends of Trempealeau Lakes and Bud and his group have formed, to really help us address some of these issues. And so, the Trempealeau Lakes, exist within this red polygon on this slide here too, and they're down gradient from the Trempealeau Terrace, which is delineated by this by the yellow polygon on here. So the Trempealeau Terrace, about 30 square miles all told. Sand outwash terrace, very permeable sandy soils. It's unusually flat ground for the driftless, so it tends to be the home to intensive cash cropping, and so the groundwater flows off the Trempealeau Terrace to the southwest to the Trempealeau Lakes too. And if you look at the figure off to the left here, this is a groundwater susceptibility model of Trempealeau County. And the southern portion of the county, the Trempealeau Terrace, it's very susceptible to groundwater contamination just based on some of the geological characteristics too. And really that susceptibility, is resulting in actual groundwater contamination. Southern Trempealeau County has groundwater nitrate in the 10 to 20 range too. So this is really one of the real nitrate hotspots in western Wisconsin. So there's certainly some challenges within the Trempealeau Lakes too. And so really resulting from the complaints we got, we initiated a study of the Trempealeau Lakes in 2021. We sampled 6 different sites, 3 sites on First Lake, the inlet and outlet of Second Lake, and a reference wetland off to the east, off the Great River Trail that receives somewhat limited groundwater input. And so really sampled monthly, May through September, for a really diverse set of parameters. So a really robust assessment of water quality and habitat within the Trempealeau Lakes. And really before the lab results even came in, it was quite obvious. We had some water quality and habitat problems on the Trempealeau Lakes. These couple of photographs of First Lake. Even some things that were pretty bizarre too. During our May sampling event, we were recording almost off the charts pH values, pHs of 10 frequently, and there was really what we call in limnology a whiting event, precipitation of calcium carbonate within the water column. The Second Lake actually looked kind of like a glacial mountain lake with glacial flour running into it too. So really just kind of an indicator that these lakes need our help too. And so really when the lab data finally did come back, that reference wetland off to the east that's received somewhat limited groundwater input, nitrogen kind of oscillating above around 1.5 milligrams per liter total nitrogen. If you tend to get above 1.5 milligrams per liter total nitrogen, you tend to have water quality and habitat problems in these backwater lakes too. And this is really important because these First, Second, and Third Lake are back end groundwater fed lakes, and really over much of their natural history they were probably nitrogen starved, but really at this point they're getting all the nitrogen they need to cause fairly serious water quality and habitat problems on the Trempealeau Lakes too. And so really after that surface water assessment, we followed up with some groundwater sampling, and we actually used mini piezometers where we sampled the groundwater, just before it entered the Trempealeau Lakes, and really elevated groundwater entering the Trempealeau Lakes, median, around 11 to 17 milligrams per liter nitrate, when really the natural background nitrate tends to be, less than 1 milligram per liter too. So it's, really we followed this up with a study where actually Second Lake was one of the study lakes too, and really this study was telling us, these backwaters of the Mississippi, we have these elevated nitrogen levels and shallow depths. We tend to have these problems with the filamentous algae mats that we have problems with on Second Lake too. And so, really both of these things are happening on Second Lake over time. It's becoming shallower due to sedimentation, and nitrogen is increasing. So really a strong candidate for restoration. And sort of thinking about, long term, I was able to dig up some historical data on Second Lake. The light blue and the red line on this plot here are actually nitrogen data going back to the 1970s. Where back in the 1970s, total nitrogen in Second Lake kind of oscillating around that 1.5 milligram per liter total nitrogen, where you kind of start to have problems. And really since that time, fast forward 45 years, we're seeing nitrogen, in the 2.5 to about 6.5 milligram per liter range. So, so really some backsliding in the Trempealeau Lake, so over time too. And I think this report was shared with the group prior to the meeting. So we really summarized, all the surface water, groundwater, and we also did some assessments of sediment quality. With the thinking that we might eventually have a dredging project on the Trempealeau Lakes too. And really one of the the positive pieces of this is when we look at sediment contaminants, things like metals, PCBs. The sediments are actually quite clean on the Trempealeau Lake, so which makes it a good candidate for this dredging project. And also, some of the other work that we did, we looked at, nutrient limitation. So really, with all the nitrogen coming into the Trempealeau Lakes, the lakes are actually tend to be a little bit more phosphorus starved at this point too. And so, as part of this assessment, we looked at the phosphorus, in the sediments. We have pretty elevated phosphorus within the sediments at this point too. So, that'll be another piece of this project. That'll be helpful to restore Trempealeau Lake too. And really one of the other stressors that we have on Second Lake at this point, we have really prevalent curly-leaf pondweed in Second Lake at this point. Curly-leaf pondweed, has this really unique life cycle where it's green under the ice, and it actually dies back in midsummer. And part of the problem with that is it releases those nutrients into the water column, and this can fuel, the algae blooms, and mats, filamentous algae and duckweed that we're seeing in the Trempealeau Lakes. So this is, kind of another stressor we're dealing with too. And so really, this project we have laid out, is pretty strategic in terms of, the depth of these dredge cuts. Is going to be deeper, than these rooted plants can root. So we'll create these zones of open water. We'll have, really we won't have the curly-leaf pondweed issues in these open water zones. This will create, really a diverse mix of that open water habitat, that's usable for recreation. We've talked a lot about tourism this meeting at this morning too. And so, really, that the depth of these dredge cuts is based on, these water clarity models where we look at these lakes. We figure out how much light they need to grow at certain depths too. And so, really just, the design of this project, is really quite nice in terms of, we'll walk away with really diverse aquatic habitat that'll be helpful for the Trempealeau Lakes. And really, one of the final pieces, this was Second Lake was one of the study lakes from a paper we just published in River Research and Applications this spring too. And so really with this paper, with the general take home of this paper was that we have really favorable backwater habitat when these backwaters flush at a rate of about 12 days water residence time. So that's completely new water flushing through a backwater, about every 12 days. And so really, the results of this paper were telling us that Second Lake, is flushing about every 7 days. So that's actually quite a fast flushing rate, resulting in elevated water velocities within the lake too. And so, this dredging project will really, help to move, the water residence time or how fast Second Lake flushes kind of more into that optimal zone. So, really kind of a feather in our cap there too. And so really, if we look at, Second Lake currently, it really kind of looks like this lower panel in this figure here too. There's a lot of water depths, in the kind of that 3 to 5 feet range, where we tend to have high water velocity, top to bottom, and really, the fish surveys that have been done in recent years are telling us that the fish in Second Lake, tend to be smaller, relative to other Mississippi River backwaters. And so really, what we're looking at, for this habitat restoration project, is kind of more like this top panel where we have, this water depth, this habitat, add depth, this kind of 9+ feet water depth. So we kind of have that zone of, optimal water velocity, optimal water temperature, but still with adequate oxygen, which tends to be really rare habitat on the Mississippi River too. And so, just a tremendous, ability to sort of move the habitat of this really unique resource forward too. And, just to close with, I think this is a really important project for the future of Trempealeau Lakes. Here's my daughter, Kira, catching some bluegills out on Third Lake too. And so really, in my mind, I really want, her kids and her grandkids to be able to go out to the Trempealeau Lakes, and have a good experience too. And so, to really do that, it's you really have to sort of make the investment periodically in some of these aquatic resources in the county. And really, with that, I'll shoot it over to Bud to give some perspectives from the Friends of Trempealeau Lakes.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Yeah,
So-
you bet.
So will the dredging primarily address the phosphorus content in the sediment? And if we do this project and we don't address the nitrates entering, we're going to wind up in the same spot in a number of years, aren't we?
Part of what's going on there too is that there's so much nitrogen loaded into the Trempealeau Lakes that there's almost a forcing of phosphorus limitation where phosphorus, it's similar to what you would run in like an agronomy model. Phosphorus is the limiting nutrient too, and so dredging some of that phosphorus out of the sediments will actually kind of make conditions more limiting for these mats. Filamentous algae and also the planktonic algae too. So, it's kind of an ancillary benefit. I mean, I think the key benefit of this is just to create, really good aquatic habitat too. But there is some benefits to going after that pool of phosphorus sitting in the sediments in the bottom of Second Lake.
Sean, this is Buzz. I got a couple of questions.
Turn your mic on.
Oh. Sean, is washout going to kind of take care of phosphorus? Even if you got enough phosphorus to grow a lot of planktonic, you only got a 7-day residence time. You're not going to get many generations of algae off, right?
At times, really, when it slows down, you'll get some decent planktonic blooms, in Second Lake at times. But largely like the big stressor. It's sort of the mats in Trempealeau Lakes too, and really, the research we've done on these mats on the backwaters too is, they kind of need the rooted plants to push up to the surface to lock them in place too, and so, if you look at this project too, it's we won't have those plants pushing up to the top. We'll create open water zones where like Buzz, you probably know, during the summer months, at this point, Second Lakes, it's almost unusable from a rec standpoint.
Yeah, so I guess
it's actually the one lake that has really good public access in the Trempealeau Lakes too. So
yeah, what are the phosphorus levels post dredging expected to be? What are you at?
I'd have to really go back and look at the data too. But when we run these nutrient limitation models, it's based on ortho P. It's frequently if you look at that report, we'll get phosphorus limitation about half the time.
Yeah, so
it's I think those models kick in at like ortho of like less than 10.
Well, you'd expect that if the algae are taking it up, obviously. I'm more of a TP guy that you got to look at the total, and if you're still up in that 40, 50, 60 range. The concern I guess I would raise, are we going to trade a harmful blue-green algal bloom for an algal mat?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think in this, because you look at with the flushing rates, I think there's enough flushing too. Where even with this dredging project, I think we'll end up with a residence time, kind of in that 12 days range too. Like a lot of the research we've done, for related to cyanobacteria on these backwaters of the river is kind of telling us you have to have much longer residence times than that on
It's
some
kind
of
of
these
a
backwaters
threshold.
to really.
You hit about 14 days, you can get enough generations of some of the blue-greens off too. So, yeah, I'm not against it. I'm just raising the question.
Yeah, I think it would. I think at post-project, I think that having cyanobacteria problems would be
But are you
quite
gonna
unlikely.
go into the number of yards removed and where you're going with this sediments? The only one that you didn't seem to address on the toxics, did you look at PFASs in the sediments?
We didn't, just because it's pretty unlikely to be in this. Based on like where the known point sources are, we didn't. We kind of did the typical.
Okay.
Sort of PCBs and metal screens, PAHs, things like that.
So just for, again, my education, what's the primary benefit that dredging will realize?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is aquatic habitat for, fisheries, and yeah, and then there's sort of these ancillary benefits of, getting at that pool of phosphorus, which is contributing to the mats. And the other thing too is to create these zones, where it's basically too deep for the curly leaf pondweed to grow. So it really, at the end of this too, if you look at the Trempealeau lakes, they're really nice lakes, but there's not much kind of shore recreation ability from a fishing standpoint too. And so really, the layout of these cuts, will allow people to have, really good, kind of shore recreation too, where, really at this point, during the summer months, it's unusable. And also from an ice fishing standpoint, it's going to be, really improved aquatic habitat. I mean, it really, an incredible
Sean, one
lift in
follow-up
terms of
there.
aquatic habitat.
Are your secchi
Yeah.
depths, your light penetration, is this below like the photic 1% zone, or is usually old rule
Yeah.
of thumb was 2.5 times secchi depths is rooting zone? So this thing.
Yeah. It's not light limited. Until a pretty decent. Yeah, I mean, like where I ran, the secchi depths versus, the rooted depth too. It falls out at about that,
Okay.
kind of
I'll
9.5
shut up then.
feet. So it's based on those plant colonization models that I ran.
Guys, not to cut anyone off or anything, but do you have an ask or something, or is this something that we need to pass along maybe to the county, or what are you looking for here?
Let me just
Yeah.
kind of go through I just have a few slides. So Sean, if you can go to the next one, I think Sean already kind of made this point. From my perspective and the Friends of Trempealeau Lake, if we don't start doing something to restore these lakes, they're going to basically be marshland. They will be unusable for recreation of any kind. They'll become a whole different kind of environment, and it's just going to, be abandoned, I think, in line. If you show the next slide. So Sean showed this. This is the cut. The point I want to make, or that you should see if you don't know the Second Lakes, is that the whole area that we're going to dredge is on the south end of Second Lake, and there is road access right on the shoreline all around. We're focusing on this area of Second Lake because it is the most accessible shore fishing area probably in our region. We have great aquatic and fishing habitat all through it, but almost everyone needs a boat. You need a landing. You need to be comfortable to either go to the backwaters or the main channel of the Mississippi. This is one area in our county where people can fish from the shore. And it is also, once created, great ice fishing habitat as well. Again, easy access for people. So we are intentionally choosing this part of Second Lake because, one, it needs it, and we think it will really improve the aquatic environment as well as the habitat for fish, and also therefore be better for fishing over time. Next one, Sean. The part of the reason we can do this at the cost is because the DNR is allowing us to use part of their property as the deposit site. So the blue line indicates the pumping that we will do to the red area, and then the green is the discharge water going back in Second Lake. So we don't have far to move this stuff. We don't have to pay for the disposal site. It will be covered up and reforested. Next, Sean. So this is it's a very small dredge. Schaefer's Marine is the company that we've been working with out of Alaska. They have worked for the DNR. They're currently doing a project in Lake Onalaska. They're experienced at this, and we're confident they can carry out this work successfully. Next. So why should people support this? First of all, it'll be an environmental improvement project. I recognize that there are 3 different problems that we're dealing with, and one of them is nitrogen. This dredging project won't address that, but we are working hard with local producers and farmers so that we can start reducing the leaching into the groundwater, largely from agricultural practices. So we believe that all of the problems that are affecting the Trempealeau Lakes are fixable. This is just one of the steps we need to take. It's not the only one. And we are both aware of and working on the nitrogen problem as well. But this dredging project will increase depth, remove some of the phosphorus load on the bottom, and make the depth deeper, or the lake deeper, so that the curly pondweed has less of a chance to be in effect. This is going to provide a quality place to shore fish and ice fish. We're focused particularly on kids, families, and people with disabilities, people who don't have boats. So we think that this will be an improvement, recreational improvement for the residents of Trempealeau County, but also be a tourist draw. As you probably all know, there's a RV park just a mile down the road. This will help bring those people in. There are other lodging in Trempealeau itself. All the land around Second Lake is protected and is open to the public. It's either owned by the Wisconsin DNR or the Mississippi Valley Conservancy. So access to this lake and the protection, the environmental protection around it is already in place. And one of the important things, I've always been a little skeptical of dredge projects because most places where you're dredging, like some of the lakes or ponds on Trempealeau River or even on the Mississippi, the sedimentation rate is very high. So a dredge project will only last for a small number of years. The deposits in the Second Lake and the Trempealeau Lakes in general are really from decay of vegetation over hundreds of years. And we believe that the depths that we'll dredge to will last for 50 plus years. So we see this as a one-time investment for a long-term benefit. Next, Sean. So I think the other thing to keep in mind here is the dredge project is really the first step in many other opportunities here. We could improve the shoreline near the dredge area to improve better access for shore fishing. We might install one or more fishing cribs to increase fishing habitat or improve fishing habitat. And we could improve or install new fishing dock and or kayak launch dock. Now, I say these things partly because I'm also aware that the Wisconsin DNR is updating their master plan for the lake's property. And that new updated master plan includes these concepts as something that would be permitted and supported by the DNR. And I think the final slide, that's not mine. I don't know where that one came from. There was one more slide. So I think that in general, this is a project that the Trempealeau County should help us fund. The cost of this, someone asked how many cubic yards. There'll be just over 12,000 cubic yards removed in this dredge proposal. The cost is right around $500,000 to do this. We have many grants requests out there, but we really need the Trempealeau County to step up and help fund this. I would hope for somewhere around 200 to 250,000. If the county doesn't step up, it's going to be much harder to convince other funders if the government doesn't help us out here. And one of the other grants I'm writing right now is a federal program called Fishers and Farmers. And one of the first questions is, what matching money can you contribute or provide if we fund this? Fishers and Farmers, we might get 100 to 200,000 depending on how much we can match. So, I'm appealing to to this committee to help support funding this dredge project.
So are you asking for us to look for a way to fund the 250K, or what is your ask here exactly?
That would be my ask, yes.
Okay, and do you have a time frame that you need this done on? Because I'm guessing that this committee's going to need a little more time to review this
Yes, absolutely.
specifically. Yeah.
So we already, so I guess the last slide was basically, this is a shovel-ready project. We have a plan, we have a company to do the work, and we have a permit from the DNR. The Wisconsin DNR has issued us a permit, and that permit runs until June 2031. So we have a little time to get this money pulled together, but the sooner the better. You know, this, again, I think it's a one-time opportunity for the county. If the county doesn't step up, I'm not sure I'm gonna hold the Friends of Trempealeau Lake together much longer, because they're gonna say, well, if the county doesn't care about this, and they're not gonna help us out here, why should we work so hard to do this?
Well, it's certainly not that the county doesn't care about it. We certainly do. We understand the impact to tourism for sure. But I do think we need some time to make sure that we have all the information and that we can make good decisions before we move forward. So making a decision today doesn't seem likely to me unless the committee members
I
have
understand
something
that.
different to
I
say.
didn't expect a decision today.
Wonderful. So if you can get us more information, we could put together a list of any questions that we have, and we'll get those to Jack, and then we could discuss it at a next meeting. How does that sound?
I'm thinking they're looking for.
Okay, so I guess I need to know what your questions are.
Yes.
We did send a lot of information to Jack. I'm not sure all of that went out to all the members.
Yeah, but we've got the report from Sean, and we have your slides.
And basically,
Well,
what
I think I also sent you the Schaefer's proposal, which has some more details in it about what's going to be done.
No,
See that?
I didn't send that out to him, but I can after
Okay.
the meeting here.
Well, why don't you get us that
I
information?
also could, I think I still have a copy, a digital copy of the permit application to the Wisconsin DNR, or I can send you the letter from the DNR saying that the permit has been granted.
So, but one other question about timing. How long will over what time period is the 500,000 to be spent? Is it all in 1 year or spread over?
Well, once they start the dredge project, they will continue dredging until the project's finished. This is a small dredge, so it's gonna, my understanding, it's gonna take 2 to 2.5 months to finish
Okay.
that. Does that sound right, Sean?
Yeah, I think in that ballpark.
And what I've been told is that they won't be able to, and Christina probably, that when they start, they probably will have to start after the spawning season in terms of the fishery. So my guess is that they obviously can't do this in the winter. So my guess is that it would be kind of mid to late summer they would get started in a given year, and then they would dredge for 2.5 months. So let's, I don't know, July, Christina, if you had to, so they might start in July sometime and pump July, August, and into September. So the exact time that they can dredge is pretty kind of set. I mean, they could start later and go into the fall as well, but
there is some flexibility when it comes to dredging timing. So basically, once they're out of that fish timeout waiver, just to avoid any kind of interactions with fish spawning habitat, then they can take and go pretty late. As long as they don't freeze over. Second lake doesn't freeze over.
Right.
I guess I would like to look at some of the technical stuff a little bit, Sean, too. How are you going to pay for this at the end? Is it paid on actual contours? If these are flocculent sediments out there, you're going to have a lot of sediment focusing going on. This stuff's going to slide downhill. So are they going to provide you, not on yards showed up in the dredge spoiled disposal area, but on how the bottom contours look and that they're stable when you get done?
It'll be based on final bottom contours, Buzz. Yep.
Okay.
I have a question. The 200,000 number that you're talking about in relation to the total number of 500,000, was this after you've already taken into consideration potential grants?
Well, it I think, so I have about 7 or 8 grant applications out to corporations. I expect that I will get some of that, but I don't expect them to be, huge amounts of
Happy,
money.
yeah.
But as we start to make an appeal to the general public for individual donors and maybe smaller businesses, it's going to be really important to show that we already have some substantial commitment from funders like the Trumpealeau County.
I understand.
I guess,
The other big funder, as I hope, is the Fisher and Farmers Program. That application just dropped as open on July 1st, just a few days ago. I think it's due sometime in September. So I'll be working on that. And, one of the questions in the grant is there going to be matching money? Is anyone else going to be contributing towards this?
Yeah.
Having the county on board. And I'm putting a little pressure on you just because this is the situation I'm in, but
Yeah.
I know that you're not going to make a decision today.
I guess, Sean, comparing, when I ran the math on this, it's $41 a yard. That seems extremely high cost per yard for a dredging project. Most of the stuff I've worked with over the years, we thought it was high when it got up around 10 or so. And is this because it's hydraulic only, or what's driving that cost per yard? Is this consistent with other dredging projects on the river at that $40-50 a yard range?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of more like the going rate nowadays, Buzz, too. I mean, like the dredging per yard costs have jumped up quite a bit. Yeah, the days of getting $20 a yard are long gone.
No, we just did one for less than $5 up in Altoona.
Mechanical, though?
Yeah, mechanical during the winter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it. Everything's more expensive, but
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I mean,
helps a
I
lot that
actually
we have a
thought
location on site.
Yeah, I actually thought the bid, comparison to bids we've had recently, the bid was actually pretty
Okay.
good for this style of project on the river.
And Bud, you said it earlier. I think it's worth noting that the whole issue of nitrates in the groundwater in that general area is getting some attention in our land and resource water management planning, and I think it will be, personally, I think it will emerge as a key priority. So that will complement nicely this this dredging project.
I agree. This as I think the reason so many of us feel passionate is the same reason that Sean stated. The Trempealeau Lakes in particular being spring-fed lakes, but being in the mix of this very unique environment and very a diverse environment of the Mississippi River Valley, is this a very special place. And one is we need to take care of it. The problems we're facing are largely fixable, either because we can do something like dredge, and we have this unique opportunity where we can keep the cost at least, I think, within a reasonable range to do. We can improve things that are accessible to people, but we also have the nitrogen problem, which is also, I think, fixable. In working in collaboration with our producers and farming community, we can start to bring that leaching down, which will be good actually for not just the lakes, but for human health overall. And so I won't go into that, but I'm also sitting on a review of the land management plan for Trempealeau County, and one of the areas that we're elevating in that that revision of the land management plan is increased kind of education and attention to the groundwater nitrogen leaching on the Trempealeau Terrace as well as other places of Trempealeau County.
All right.
Yeah, I would just echo that. I mean, I think there's this two-pronged approach where, these kind of near-term in-lake restoration efforts, coupled with the watershed efforts too. So I think both are really important to restore the Trempealeau Lakes.
Well, and the other thing, I've been doing a lot of reading about, nitrogen leaching in different parts of our state and in the United States. The reality is that the amount of change that we need to create and the number of farmers that we need to collaborate with is quite manageable. It's, I've looked at some watersheds where, there are literally thousands of farms that are, in many cases, the nitrogen is running off the soil into streams, but the watershed is so big, to make an impact requires a big effort. We're really only talking about a handful of farmers.
All right. What is the preference of the committee? Would you like some more time to study this?
Definitely.
Yes. So I think that'll be the plan, and we'll go ahead and put it on the next agenda. And if you can get us all the information that you have, Jack, out, that would be wonderful. Is there anything else that you folks need on that perspective?
Well, I think it's a great, thanks for bringing this problem to us.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the work is going to be, and the challenge is going to be, where can we find some dollars?
Mm-hmm. Always.
Is this something, you're on land use, aren't you, John?
Yes.
Environmental land
Yes.
use? Have you touched on this at all?
We have not. This dredging project is the first that,
It's new.
it's
Yeah.
new for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I had thought was some type of joint committee with
Yeah.
ELU maybe in the future.
Well, why don't you suggest that, Jack, and get that put together for us, and we can take a look at that. Does that make sense? Thank you guys so much for bringing this to our attention, and please know that we are not dismissing this at all. We are very, very concerned with making sure that our rivers are wonderful and that we can obviously attract people to them because they're so beautiful. So we're definitely, that's not it. It's exactly what John says, we need some cash. So,
Can I make one final comment? I forgot this, Jack asked me to mention about it. One of the other complementary projects that the Friends of Trempealeau Lake are working on is the development of a trail that would loop on the DNR property, run down the side of the road that's part of the Village of Trempealeau property, and then it would connect to a loop on Mississippi Valley Conservancy property. Finding and getting permission to do the trail design has taken much longer, but we're continuing to work on that. And it would be another way of enhancing the Trempealeau Lakes properties for tourism and recreation of the Trempealeau County citizens.
okay, wonderful. Thank you very much, guys. We really appreciate you participating and waiting here for us. We appreciate your time very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you much.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And Jack, thank you so much for putting those other pieces onto the next meeting. Future agenda items, we just need to set the date, which is Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. Does that work for everyone? At Petrick Park? All right,
Is that, what time is it?
8:30.
8:30?
And then we're going to go ahead and adjourn this. If I can get a,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
okay?
A second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion carried.